We're back again. We've been gone for a bit, but we're back again.
Yeah, scheduling. I go to Ireland. He goes to
There
wherever.
is a lot of holidays happening in April. Let's just say.
Yeah, the
Lot
Eastern
of
and whatnot. I visited family. Nerds, there's a
yeah.
new rule in place at the
Oh,
fam at the grandma home.
oh.
It is as long as you don't have children yourself, you're going to do the Eastern looking for the chocolate eggs.
Go hunt those eggs, boy. Go hunt those.
I am an adult. No, you don't have a child, so you have to go.
You have to go hunt those eggs. It is your punishment for not producing the grandkids.
It is. It is the punishment.
Oh no. Yeah,
And I
don't
swear,
have to
all
that,
those
luckily.
parents, all my aunts and grandma and mother family, just how can we get those children? They're adults, but
Yeah.
we need to get this. We need to get them.
Need them grandkids.
Yeah.
Get them grandkids. Let's go.
Ugh.
No, I luckily don't have to worry about any of that, so I'm fine. I'm fine in that regard. Oh no, but no, it's been an alright few weeks. We got a lot of anime to catch up on. We got we got some fun things to talk about. I guess we might as well get started with some a fun little activity that we haven't done in a while. People, astute members of the stream might remember we did a Ship Girl review a while ago.
So
And
long, I barely remember.
Yeah, we are going. Yeah, because of your Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we're back again because you wouldn't believe it. Azura Lane was like, "Hey, you know what nation we haven't done ships for yet?
And who is
The Dutch.
the big ships? Who has big ships going on?
Yeah, big ships. It's the Dutch. Yes, we have Dutch ship girls. It is time. So yeah, we've got some fun girls to have a look at. Yeah, ship girl review.
You have to do the claps if it doesn't get filtered.
Yeah, ship girl review. So we'll start off. We've got the HNLMS, the Zenith
De Zeven Provinciën.
Yeah, see, Ali can make fun of my shitty Dutch pronunciation.
Shame on your heritage.
Horrible.
Shame on your heritage.
I am only half, okay? So I'm only going to get it half right. I'm only going to get it half right. So it seems like they're going with a nature-y kind of theme.
Yeah,
We got some elves, right? They're all elves. They only added 2. So they're a minor nation at the moment because they typically similar to because in Azura Lane, right? You obviously have like Germany and Britain, and, all the major nations, and then you got like the maybe Russia's in the you'll have China, but China will only have like a few ships, right? And then you'll have
Brazil like, or something.
Maybe Italian ships.
Oh, Italian,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they kind of, but they're more, they don't have as
Sweden,
many ships, right? So they, well, I don't think they've got Sweden yet, but so we only got 2 ships, which is why it's we can crank it out in the preamble, right? We can quickly get through it, but damn, she got big titties,
big thighs.
Big thighs, she thick, as the kids would say, right? She got that thick.
So you have to educate me on this.
Yeah.
What are actually the elements? How do we judge a ship girl as good? How much historical analogs?
I don't actually know because I haven't actually looked too deep into the girls or know too much about their personalities yet or what they're meant to be fucking related to. So that's they're so fresh. The wiki doesn't even have a quotes page yet. They haven't even uploaded the quotes.
No, I meant more like she has a staff with a light on it. Does that light has
Yeah.
some basis in the function of the battleship? That was kind
I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I think the thing is, at this point with Azura Lane, I really think they're probably running out of ships that existed. So who knows?
Yeah.
I do find the theme to be quite nice, though, right? This sort of naturey kind of, she's still got, like, because from what I did understand from looking into it, like, the whole, because it's the nation of Tupla or something.
Yeah, tulips, Tulpa, what something.
Tulips, and their icon is a windmill with a crown on it as well, which is quite
Kingdom,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, like lore-wise, it is supposed to be kind of like this sort of they're in tune with nature and the goodness of,
which it would be
so and so. Which kind of is shown in the design quite a bit. You've got the mountain with the halo in the background. She's got like the little inlays on her battleship thing. Her whole dress is got that green kind of
with leaves, whatnot,
flowers. Flowers on her. I don't know what you'd call that. Like the thing on her
embroidery or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So she, she's definitely looking pretty good. The other thing that we can review, which might get us in trouble with the YouTube overlords, but we'll see how we go. They put out skins for these girls, and the theme of the skins is the theme is let's just have a nap, right, with our cute elf waifu, right? Yeah, I stuck that in there. There we go. We'll see if that pops up.
Yes.
Hey, there we go. And I haven't looked too close into the skin. It would be really wild if they did like ASMR in the skin. That would be pretty wild, right? Where it would be like, oh yeah, you get that left right when she talks or whatever. That would be kind of funky. But I don't know if that's the case or not. So yeah, we got a live 2D skin of our Dutch elf waifu, which is good because you get a more close and intimate look. And look, I like the art too. Look, you got the tulips there. You got the
the fat tits.
Yeah, I'm adding 10 points to developers. Well played. Yeah. I noticed something that people pointed out. Right? So you know how Azura Lane has an age rating, right?
Yeah.
Let's update the age rating.
Ooh.
I think it's 17 plus now, and it used to be like 15 or 14 plus. So.
I guess jokes aside for a bit, I just think they saw their demographics and like, oh, nobody below 15 is playing anyway. we can up it now.
Yeah. And it also lets them get away with more shit too. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of not. I don't see it as much of a problem really. But yeah, no. So Xenophia, yeah, she's pretty cute. But we got another girl. So we might as well cover her. I think she's instead of being a battleship. Where's the chat? I have to bring up the thing. I think she's a cruiser. So slightly different. And what she lacks in stature, she has in ears, I guess.
Have to scale it up a bit.
You're gonna have to resize that. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit weird. We're still working things out,
Yeah, this stack is fun, but it doesn't. It kind of looks like it takes the thumbnail of the image instead of. But it's the quickest and easiest way.
Yeah. So she looks pretty good. She's got the same kind of theme, her little battleship things have got like little bug wings, right? She's got a little elven look, right? She got the torpedo tubes, right? A little bit smaller. Definitely liking the you've got that little naval window there that's kind of colored in with the stocking. That's quite nice. She's got So a nice design all around, and she also got a skin. Let me go grab that.
So I do have to quickly mention that I am somewhat familiar with naval history of the Netherlands. However, that ends in this kind of in 1800. That's the latest I know. All my knowledge is of the Golden Age.
I should also mention, I believe this girl is Everston. Everston,
Averstan.
I believe, or something. Averstan, yeah, that's probably how you pronounce it. Yeah, yeah, and she's got a nice skin there. She's looking pretty good. She's got a, she's got that sheer top. You get a little bit of that bare feet action for you foot lovers, right? You get that feet, right? She's
No
ready to go.
shaming here.
No shaming here, no kink shaming here. Yeah, she does have nice thighs.
Mm.
Yeah. So slightly smaller in stature than her teammate.
Yeah, but if you compare battleships to cruisers or whatever the classes are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The elf girls.
So as our resident Dutchman,
Yes.
how do you feel your country has been represented in the Azura Lane? Are you happy with your representation? Does it fill you with absolute joy?
The elf girls are nice. The theming is a little bit more original than you would otherwise expect. Although I kind of miss a little bit of the water element, because even in these World War II ships, maybe a little bit more emphasis on water would be nice.
Yeah. Because I don't know. Because we'll see when they add more ships eventually, right? Because I assume they wouldn't just add the faction just to have 2 ships. They're probably going to put more ships in slowly over time.
Yeah, and another thing,
so Dutch related to Middle Earth.
Maybe
that's maybe, yeah. Well, like I said, I think it's an interesting.
We're lower than the Middle Earth because we're the Netherlands.
Well, it's like you said, the theming is not stereotypical, right? For like the Netherlands, it's an interesting way to go in the direction of elves and nature for the Netherlands.
So, if we're going to Azura Laneify the Netherlands, and we have to include water, have them be this would be a different theming altogether, kind of. Have them be either swimmers, swim good, because in the part of the basic education here, you have to swim, because we can drown at any moment, so you better learn how to swim.
Yeah, water fucking everywhere. Yeah.
You better learn how to swim. So if they were swimmers, that would necessitate kind of a swimsuit outfit, and that would kind of get rid of the whole green elf vibe, which might make it a little bit more original. Instead of green elves, nature elves, it would be kind of sporty water elves.
Yeah, it's interesting because the theming is not necessarily generic to the Netherlands, but it is a generic theming. Right?
Yeah,
because obviously elves, nature, leaves, green, right? Big green, right? I think it's an interesting direction to go with these girls, but end of the day, I'm pretty impressed. I've already got both of them, so I'm happy. I'm gonna have to because they're doing this new thing in Azura Lane where they have like kind of like Momo Talk in Blue Archive, where you have like your cell phone in game and the girls are like texting you and you can like choose responses and
get pictures back. I assume
you have a little conversation with your ship girls, because that's the name of the game right now, is making interactive waifus, right? So I haven't done the ones for the Dutch girls yet, so I might have to do a report back next time on this is the personality of them, right?
Yeah,
because I don't know yet. But overall, though, like I said, very impressed.
Yeah,
I am. My half Dutch blood is happy with the cute elf girls.
I am. Yeah, my good. To be fair, Naretsu, or to be honest, these are kind of look a little bit too generic elfy to really tickle anything of a Dutch national pride in them. It would be slightly different if they would have kind of more of a water element in them. Something about, we have a bunch of channels, canals, sluices, dikes and stuff. Right now, they're just living in a forest with Dutch ship names slapped on them. So, but maybe that will show up in battle quotes or talk.
Maybe
events.
it'll show up in like future units, because, like I said, you've got different there are different
squads in a country.
squads. Yeah, like the French are actually really interesting in lane because they're split in two. Because you have the French that decide, like the French ships that kind of went. I get because I don't know the history necessarily behind it, but like a lot of the French battleships got destroyed in dock during the invasion, so the Germans couldn't use them. So those ships ended up siding with the German side, whereas the other ships ended up siding with the British side. So you have two factions of French ships. There's the Ice Libre and the Victoria Dominion, right? And it's quite so they do very interesting stuff that's pseudo historical with the ship girls, and how they they do it. And then because I'm looking at it right now, like you've got like the Parliament, Northern Parliament for the Russians. You got the Sengrarian whatever Empire for the Italians and their females, as you would expect. Right?
To go back to these girls. Right. Oh yeah, Elf Girl's nice. I'm kind of missing some more the Dutch connection a little bit. I think adding water would help.
We all know the French aren't real.
And I am. This isn't the fault of the game, but my national pride is kind of more of an look, those cool guys 500 years ago, more so than the cool ships 50 years ago. So
we might see some of that.
Yeah, so if because the Zeven Provincia was the flagship of the Dutch Navy, headed by Admiral Michiel de Ruiter, hero of the Netherlands, sea captain of the fleet and all that good stuff. Destroyed the British Navy in one fell swoop. He did. Very smart, all those hero stories. Yes. So I'm kind of disappointed that those ships aren't here, but I know that these are.
They could be saving them.
Yeah, but I know all the ships I mentioned are from wood and have maybe cannons that can shoot 50 meters.
Might show up. They might show up in the team because they have that faction. Because that was the last ship girl review we did. We did the teams.
Oh yeah.
Team Star, whatever the ones that are wood. So they'll probably show up later, I'd say. It's been a big week for gotcha shit, actually, because I watched the Arknight stream last morning. Last night.
Time zones.
Morning, so haven't had much sleep for the stream, by the way. So if I'm a bit low energy, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
we had hot wheelchair girl getting playable. So I'm very happy about the hot angel wheelchair girl coming to Arknights. So it's gonna be good.
Also, I haven't. I want to Switch 2. I've tried to buy one. I haven't been able to get one, etc. So I've been on that. I'm not every day refreshing it all the time or whatnot. I'm just checking the store. I finished.
It's like with the graphics cards, right? The 50 whatever burn your house down edition.
Yeah.
Where it's like people. So Mandark's been trying to get one, and he was like, what did he say? I'd have to go back into my DMs, because he was like mentioning how they sold out and like he had like an actual new, like someone calculated it. Let me have a look. I'll see if I can find it, because it was funny. Because he was complaining to me about it. He was oh god, where is it?
The Switch or the graphics cards?
The graphics cards, but I assume it's probably very similar with the Switch, where it's like they probably can't even get those things out on the shelves; they're already gone, right?
I kind of, from what I understand or hear, is that the Switch 2 would likely be somewhat available at launch, but maybe after that, not as much anymore. Online, it would be sold out immediately, but in stores, there might be enough supply. It just, it's a shame. The physical game stores are kind of dying out. They're almost all gone, and there's none of them are near me. So I am, forced to go online. And online, they haven't started accepting pre-orders That's so I've been no, I've Cool Blue and MediaMarkt as kind of bigger electronic
Okay,
stores.
here we go. For those wondering about today's drops on LDLC, we have created a breakdown. At 10:17, we saw the 5090 Founders Edition cards restock. The initial restock was for 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mm.
This was then followed by a restock of the 5070 Founders Edition at 10:23. It was in stock for a few hours, so won't get Pacific times unless requested. It restocked a total of 23 times over the course of the next few hours. Finally, at 10:32, we saw a second restock of the 5090 Founders Edition. This lasted 3 minutes. So you got 3 minutes. 3 minutes to get that that card that'll burn your house down because of how much power it uses. Oh man, but yeah, and I don't know what the situation of Switch 2s is like down here. It's probably better than what it is in America, but
Who knows? I will be getting my Switch on launch or very close to launch. I've no doubt about it. But I'd rather be more.
You gotta lock in. You gotta lock in for those video cards. You gotta be on that computer, fucking tapping that button.
Yes.
Those fucking cards.
No, the Switch 2 will be okay. I will be able to go to a store on launch day and whatnot and get one, or near launch day. But I'd rather if online ordering, pre-ordering will get me the thing for sure, then I'll do that. But I'm not as afraid that I will be missing out on the Switch.
Right, so I guess I don't know if we've got anything else in particular to talk about.
Busy week, doing stuff in the home, doing things in the garden,
doing the usual,
playing and beating a game and whatnot. So it's.
So I guess we can complain about mainstream anime now. I guess.
I guess.
Oh, stream's buffering on my end. What's going on? Oh, there we go. It's fixed. Okay. Yeah. Well, so yeah. Let's jump on over because we got a video. We actually have a video for once. Good videos. Oh shit! Fivo got hit by a car. Holy shit!
Oh wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry, I have to.
Oh, wrong one.
Yeah, it's I loaded in the wrong video.
Oh no, that's not
Wait
good.
1 second. I'll go back.
I mean, I think it's like you put two videos from the same guy.
Are they from the same guy?
Yeah, they are.
No, I had a comic one prepared. All the thumbnails and whatnot.
Okay, well then I guess we're not going to talk about mainstream anime. We're going to talk about comics, I guess. But yeah, Fivo got hit by a car. Fucking hell.
Oh,
pretty wild. Only a few scratches. Well, that's good.
I got a few scratches from working in the garden and getting myself stung by the a plant that burns, that hurts when you touch it.
Oh, the fucking stinging needles.
Yeah. I mean, brandnetels, but it's not. That wouldn't be the name in English.
Yeah. That kind of thing. So anyway, why is manga beating American comics? Am I ready for the next gotcha, Victor? Yeah, Victor, hell yeah. Yeah, I've got like 300, 400 pulls saved up. I'm not going to use them all on Victor, but I'm definitely getting Victor. That's happening.
Which game is that, Retsu? Just
we're doing GFL talk, yeah. GFL 2 talk, yeah. You're going to go V, you're going to get V. Yeah, V1, R1 is what most people are saying is like what you kind of want to go for. So I might do that. It's good because like I'm probably gonna skip Yuhi and Zan, whatever the fuck her name is, because I don't really need Yuhi, and the other girl is not really that great. So it gives us plenty of time to save up for Springfield, so that'll be good. But yeah. So why is manga beating American comics? So I guess before we get into the actual video, maybe we should do a bit of hypothesizing, right? A bit of hypothesizing. I think it's the same with anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
the issue with American comics is because I don't want to just say, "Oh, it's the woke shit," right? Because that's lazy, right?
It also isn't very true, I assume.
Well, it kind of is true. It's part of the problem, I guess, right? Because most people, when they want to like get into something, they're not like looking for something that's like, oh, it agrees with my politics or whatever, right? 100%. They just want a good story, right? And a lot of the time, mangakas, right? They're usually not going into like a work setting out to like, oh, this is my big massive statement on the state of the world or whatever. It's just, no, this was a cool idea I had. Let's have a fun with it, right? Or, oh, I want to enter something into a contest to see if I can get into jump. Here's my idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with American stuff, it often feels a little bit, I don't know, like it feels like the actual stories are taking a back seat to trying to push stuff a little bit. So, well, I'm not going to say like it's entirely the woke stuff's fault. I think there are other reasons. I think a big part of the reason we're seeing the shift is because audiences, in a general sense, just want good stuff, and there's a lot of good stuff in manga, right? So there's competition in the market now. So unless comics step up their game, right, and you get more stuff that's, I don't know, Walking Dead level, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see. They're not going to be as popular. But I don't know. What do you got? Have you got a hypothesis?
Yeah, I got. I believe we covered a video that was somewhat about the same thing or maybe we didn't do it, but
we probably did at some point. Yeah.
It was about who are the comic fans in Japan and how do they survive in Japan? And they had a bunch of arguments and said stuff, and was kind of somewhat informative. And I don't know if I'm just stealing every point that video said because it's been a while. But what I think, first off, let's do a small division between comics and graphic novels, right? Different things in the context we're talking about. Graphic novels are basically also manga in the same sense. It's varied, all kinds of stories, detective noirs, horror stuff, edgy, kill, murder, deep philosophical, magical, whatnot. All kinds of stories in the graphic novel space. Comics are Marvel and DC. Those either, I don't know how it works precisely, but they get writers to write a story of the character that they own. That just asks that just puts what you can do with the characters, either be so strict adherence to the source material that you don't want to offend anybody at all, and it's your kind of corporate overlords mandates where the story goes and how it goes, or when they are feeling whimsy, they say do whatever you want, and it will be just another side story in the thousands that we have, and the writer can do whatever, and it's out of character, whatnot. But doesn't matter. We have 1,000 stories of Batman going to the moon, or to the center of the earth where Dinosaur Kingdom is. All kinds of wacky crossovers with that the aliens, xenomorph suddenly arrive and name a character not so who isn't. The xenomorph come by and Wolverine is infected, but oh no, his super regeneration rejected the larva, but now he's a larva inside of him that maybe can escape and do, and then there's all mystery and drama and suspense around that.
Right.
So, and that is kind of what I see as the ecosphere of comics, of wacky side stories that have no relevance to the wider.
You reckon this has something to do with why manga's seen a resurgence in popularity versus
Yeah.
the comics.
There's just one small thing extra added to that, isn't that I don't believe that comics were ever big. Comics were always the nerd thing. Still,
Alright.
till this day Naruto, I have more. I when I hear somebody, oh, I read graphic novels, and versus I read comics, I have more respect for the person who said graphic novels, because that are varied stories. Except besides the Superman and the Wonder Woman and the Iron and the Hulk and whatnot. Graphic novels have a wider palette. So
addressing the chat, because we have some pretty interesting points in the chat on this. So we've got Destroyed, who says, honestly, it's accessibility. It often feels like comic vets want the industry to act and run like it was in the 90s. They didn't really do a lot to the market their comics outside of movie releases. On that accessibility issue, I do kind of agree with that, because Ellie, I want to get into a manga. Where do I start?
Chapter 1.
You just go straight chapter 1, volume 1. Bam. Reading the manga. I want to read Superman.
Which version of Superman do you want?
Yeah, where do I start if I want to read? Look, Ellie, I want to read the Supermans. How do I read the Supermans? I gotta go to, like, it's same with Spider-Man too, right? Like, Spider-Man gets brought up by 5-0, where it says, Spider-Man is treated like shit right now, right? Peter Parker is treated like shit, right? Like, where do I start with the Spider-Mans? Do I go, is there a volume 1, chapter 1? Yeah, you want to read, 2006, Unlimited Edition, Universe 51, yeah. And that's the point, right? That's the problem, right? Like, if I, like, and this is kind of part of the problem is kind of the format, right? Because from what I understand, in America, comics were kind of like, oh, you go into the comic book store and you buy like a little magazine that's a comic, right? Like you buy the chapter, right? Or the little story comic thing, right? For like, I don't know, 50 cents or whatever. And it used to be just kind of like, oh yeah, you didn't need to like start at a point or whatever. You just kind of picked who you like. Oh, it's a Batman story, right? Or it's a Superman story or whatever, right?
Episodic adventures.
And that was fine. That was fine for a while. But then they started doing like, okay, here we're going to do like overarching things, and we're going to do like, oh, these storylines kind of can tie into each other, and then it starts to become a bit of a mess as to, okay, where do you start if you want to get this experience, right? And you could argue, like, to play devil's advocate, right? Like, for instance, with Batman, right? You could probably read Long Halloween or whatever, right? I think it's called Long Halloween. I'm not sure. It's one of the famous ones, right? Famous stories, right? You could probably just read that on its own, and you wouldn't have any problems, right? It's a self-contained kind of story, and that's fine, right? But if you wanted to read like all of Batman, that's when it starts to get confusing as to like, okay, well, what would be like the definitive start point for this project I'm gonna have?
So, right? In a sense, this wouldn't be a massive barrier to entry, in that you can just, all right, no, just read the last when did reset the last time.
They reset the last time.
Yeah, well, in this sense, it's kind of the same as a Gundam. Where do you want to? Where do I start with Gundam? Oh, just watch the new season this time.
Well, just watch 079 on Netflix.
Nah. Just read the current one. Just if it was like a year ago, I said we would say, oh, do Witch from Mercury, and then watch this one.
Well, moving to Magician of D, who made a good point, right, that I want to address, right? To be fair, you'd have to have some level of familiarity with Japanese politics to tell if a manga was committing to them. It's probably more present than most people realize. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think the problem isn't, like, again, this is a trap that a lot of people fall into, right? It's not actually the politics that are the problem, right? It's the execution of the politics that's the problem. Like, I think the best example right now is Drama Queen, because that is very political, right? That author is 100% making a statement about fucking Americans in Japan, right? I mean, the last chapter of that was pretty like it even had a thing where like the Americans were acting up on a train, right? So it's kind of. I think okay, this is going to be a little bit of a side tangent on Drama Queen, right? The last chapter has this like part where he's talking to this chick in a cafe, right? And the chick is like, the chick loves. So basically, the setup is the chick saw the guy and the chick killing the aliens, right?
Yeah.
And she's like freaking out and like wants to like knob the guy in. And so the guy starts kind of explaining why he wants to get rid of the aliens. And while this is happening, you have these shots of aliens tossing their garbage out of the fucking like apartment onto the street. And so there's like a fucking like, and it's all of the aliens doing the same thing, right? So you have this wall of garbage coming down in front of the window like rain, as the guy's explaining why these aliens are bad. And then it also cuts to like some aliens on a train doing the kind of streamer stuff that's been going on lately, right? And so I think it's very, very explicit in its messaging as to what it's talking about, right? And how the protagonist is like, these aliens have like completely changed our society. They're ruining, like they killed my goddamn family, right? By the negligence of the one that drunk drive, right? And I want them gone. I want things to go back to how they were. This is fucked, right? And so I think in that case, right, 100% that is the author doing some political, signaling and signposting. However, I feel like I recognize that it's political, but I think the execution is quite interesting. And I think that, I think authors should have the right to be able to be political if they want to, right? And this is probably going to be a hot take for a lot of people, right? I don't mind if some SJW rainbow hair feminist wants to make some story about fucking, oppression or whatever the fuck, right? Like, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna like that's not my issue. My issue is it's all shit, right? It's not interesting. They don't do anything with it. They just fucking virtue signal, right? They don't have an interesting premise with what they're trying to tell. With Drama Queen, I feel like it's interesting because you have a good idea of the character motivations and why they're doing the things that they do. And the world that's been kind of set up around these aliens coming in and, fucking everything up and doing everything is believable, right? And while it relates to the real world politics of, foreigners in Japan, right?
And nuisance streamers
I think
or
that
whatnot.
because nuisance streamers and foreigners and probably mostly Americans, let's be real, it does it in a way that I feel is interesting. The politics is interesting around it because it is obviously from a Japanese perspective, right? And that's a perspective that I'm not Japanese, so I can't feel that perspective, right? So it makes it kind of interesting. And so far, it's been engaging enough that it hasn't felt, too preachy about it either. There is some nuance going on. Like,
I'm reminded of...
Like, supposedly the brother of the guy that crashed into the family has shown up, and the guy's, like, actually a nice guy. And so the guy's having second thoughts. Like, there's some nuance going on. It's interesting.
Yeah, I am reminded of a chapter in Gate, the manga, where some journalists are there in this new world, right? And they are, the army has to escort them around, and because they're journalists, have journalists' privileges and whatnot, and they are very snobby about it. Like, oh, army, you have to protect us wherever we go. And the army's like, no, don't go there, it's dangerous. And the journalist goes, no, I am a journalist, I can do whatever I want. And then, oh no, and then before that, and then we can do whatever we want, and then they hunker around each other and they snicker from, we're going to uncover and make a video where they look where they look
the
bad.
sequence. Yeah.
And then they get in trouble and like, oh, we got in trouble. And the army guys, we told you this would be dangerous. Why didn't you listen to our very reasonable requests? And the journalist goes, oh no, I didn't listen to the army's reasonable request. Now I'm in danger. But I have saved you, journalists. Do you now see the error of your ways? Yes, army man. I, journalist, see the errors of my ways, and I will repent by showing the army in a good light. And that was a chapter. And I go from, all right, man. I know.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. So yeah, no. So again, I feel it comes down to execution, right? And a lot of the time, Western execute a famous comic book example is like the unsolicited opinions about Israel fucking panel, right?
Yeah,
You have this guy. I don't know the full context behind this, but he's like a demon or some shit, and he's just like having a rant, and they censor like most of the rant, and then it just for no reason has unsolicited opinions about Israel in the fucking text box.
I am not very I don't know.
That's a famous one that I remember from back in the day, right? It's quite old, but it's like that's the kind of shit that happens in comics these days. Is it's just like, you know, it comes off as like preachy, right? Like if you wanted to do like a, you know, Israel Palestine commentary or whatever, then fucking commit to that shit. Like actually do a story about it. There you go. Fucking, you know, make it good.
Yeah.
People will be into it. But anyway, I think we've waffled on.
Hypothesizing. Also, blah blah blah. Where were they left off?
2, 3. There we
go. No Samu today.
I needed it.
No Samu today, though. Very odd.
Oh, I needed that. Fucking hell.
But where we left off, I said something about comics, graphical novels, different. Also, comics I don't see much competition in comics. It's kind of the Marvel.
You got your DC and you got your Marvel. And
no, not in that sense. It's really in the sense of that Marvel kind of commissions a story from a writer, an illustrator, I assume, and then they have a season or whatnot, an issue, to do whatever they want, and if they like it enough, it can continue or something, and otherwise it will just, I'll replace the writer. While a manga has to fight every week to to stay in the magazine.
Gotta stay in those rankings, yeah.
Yeah, so the writer commissioned by Marvel and DC doesn't. It's not that they don't have to try; it's too harsh, but they don't face the risk of their story not existing anymore because it's Batman. You're writing Batman. Whatever you write, it's going to be part of the Batman. While Mr. Whatever ongoing your Chainsaw Man manga will have to be interesting, and if it's not interesting, it will get cancelled. So keep up.
All right. Well, after that long waffle, let's see what Video Man has to say. Why is manga beating American comics? Let's go.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Alright. I was very tired of this thing, but Yara made it.
A classic scene, though.
Yeah, Yara made it good.
The 2020 so far have been a bit of an unprecedented time for comic books. In 2021 alone, the industry shot up to a little over $2 billion, a 62% increase from the previous year's $1.28 billion. And I can hear you saying right now, wow, that's a huge amount of growth for comics. I can't believe the industry made that much money. That's so incredible. Wait, you're
it's manga's numbers instead.
Yeah, I've seen this before, or I've heard about this, where in America they just call everything comics,
Mm.
right? So what they do is that to boast the numbers, they're like, oh yeah, that manga stuff, that's just comics, right? Graphic novels, that's just comics, right?
Oh yeah,
It's all
this
the
is
same, right?
basically this what I make my this what they do with AI. Any algorithm, the AI
Yeah,
to
yeah,
detect
yeah.
cancer is not the same AI as making a picture or writing something.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
merge it together for better numbers.
Mm.
Usefulness.
Yeah, let's continue.
You're saying you don't know why you should care? Uh-huh. Yeah. You're saying that this is predominantly an anime channel? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're saying that I should just get to the point already and that I should stop dragging out this bit?
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
if you have to ask, you probably should, right? It's kind of
if we're on this
yeah.
point, I believe the previous. We know the meme. We know the scene. We didn't have to see the entire thing. He could have cut things out and made it 20% of the entire length.
I mean, man's only got 13 minutes here, right? So
I guess.
I guess. Well, no, that means you should probably be a bit more concise, right? If you've only got 13, if you're only doing a 13-minute video, I expect you to be a bit more like. If this was like a 15-minute video, or maybe not 15, maybe like because it's 13 minutes, it's close enough to 15. But if it was like a half an hour, right? If it was like 30 minutes, then I would be like, okay, you can have a couple of long skits in there, right? You can have a couple, because it's 30 minutes, right? You're trying to be entertaining, right? But when you're trying to like make a point, and you're just waffling, right? Like I'm guilty of that, so don't get me wrong. I'm pot calling the kettle here, but you do kind of want to try and be a little bit more, and doing this the bit is the fact that I'm wasting your time, right? That's what makes it funny. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. But anyway, let's go.
Okay, well, you don't have to be so rude about it. So on the surface, yeah, these numbers are neat. However, it's when you dive further in where things become truly interesting. Out of these 2 billion cells, manga made up a whopping 70%.
Yeah, I am not too surprised. Jujutsu Kaisen is doing big numbers, especially those days.
You had even before that, you had Demon Slayer as well.
Before that, you had Attack on Titan, and before that,
One Piece still does big numbers. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's continue.
Of the industry. And while since 2023, the overall comic book industry has decreased to 1.87 billion, manga still makes up nearly half of that number with 43% of the total market, according to research conducted by IC.
Fucking Christ.
Share. Alright.
That's pretty fucking intense, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, if you're
like graphic novel sales by content category, yeah.
I believe author is either self-published or the graphic novels I talked about.
Yeah. Oh no, Sammy's late. No.
Yeah, you missed your conditioning. Now.
Oh well.
Wow.
Nah, we gotta live it up with some irony, Ellie. We gotta be ironic. Gotta be ironic. Nah. But these numbers are not looking too good for the Western side of the industry. But let's see what our man's point about it is.
Yeah.
EV2, and is still considered to hold the highest percentage out of the different categories for types of.
Wait, the report was from the ICV. That thing is not reliable. You want to use superheroes, use comic. Okay, I guess. I don't know anything about the comics, so we statistics, I guess.
Comics sold. While mainstream American superhero comics, what many consider to be manga's primary opponent, only made up 15% of that total. It's clear that manga is kind of cleaning house right now, and there's a lot of examples of this. In 2023, the senior director for licensing at Dark Horse Comics revealed that manga, despite only being 1% of their total output, made up 66% of the.
That's a bit of a fucking problem, yeah. Holy shit.
Do more manga, I suppose.
Because I've like seen this IRL, right? Like, and I think a lot of people have mentioned this. Like, you go to a bookstore, you go to an actual physical bookstore, and like I remember when like the manga section was like you'd have like a shelf, right? You have one shelf, and now that's 2 shelves, and now it's 3 shelves, right? And now it's 3 shelves and 2 of those little like spinny things that have got manga in them, and that and it just keeps. Every time I go in there, right, over the years, it just seems to keep getting bigger and bigger, right? Like, it keeps starting to,
take over.
It's take over. So I feel like there's some merit to what's going on.
Yeah, I do want to mention that I don't go to the manga stores basically never.
Oh, yeah, no, there's one locally inside a place, and I dip in there every now and then.
But when I go into one every 2 years, for 5 years more likely these days, there are a lot of graphic novels. So I don't see much of your superheroes, your capes. I don't see much of them at all. I see a whole range of stories I don't know or never heard of. But that's good. Seeing a bunch of stuff you don't and have never heard about means that somebody has bought it, I assume.
I assume too. Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the shelf.
And I can see Jake's point in the chat. Right, Dark Horse does curate its picks. They're getting like Berserk and Hellsing and shit. Right, like, they're picking up stuff that's guaranteed sales. But it is saying something when like it's only 1% of their output, yet it's 66% of the sales. I think that is a bit. There's something going on there. Right? Something going on there. Because Dark Horse, they publish a lot of shit. Like, I know they do The Walking Dead. They do a lot of graphic novel stuff. They don't just do comic stuff.
Well, they also do... they did the Zelda art books, the Hyrule Historia.
Yeah, Dark Horse does a lot of shit. So,
I'll go...
Them coming out and saying, it's like 1% of the output and 60% of sales. That is... Oh, Image does Walking Dead. I don't know my comics. I'm gonna be saying incorrect shit all the time.
Oh no, they have the art. I'm on the side. They have the art book for Bravely Default 2. I'm very tempted.
But my point is, like, Dark Horse does a lot of shit. Like, I know Dark Horse does a lot of shit.
They said they have Drifters, that's neat, and other things.
But anyway, let's continue.
Company said. One Piece, a manga, is close to surpassing Superman as the most successful comic of all time. Freaking Superman, dude. The one that's like dun 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 dun. Yes, that one. The one that's been around for 80 years. There's a very real possibility that One Piece, a manga that isn't even 30 years old yet, could dethrone Superman in our lifetime. That's so insane, but it also makes you wonder how.
This sounds very American-centric right now.
a little bit.
Because when I grew up in Retsu, I didn't have any Superman comics. I had Kuifje. I had Siska and Wiske. Those were the 2 big ones. With Siska and Wiske, no, not Siska and Wiske. Kuifje having, tapes, videotapes of comics, bundles, arcs, animated. And Siska and Wiske, the Retsu, you don't want to know how many of there are. They were ancient by the time I read them, and they're ongoing to this day. Thousands and thousands of editions of stories. So yeah, that oh no, One Piece is going to take over Superman. Cool story, man. Is it going to take over Siska and Wiske? Maybe.
Well, I guess depending on how you look at it, it is definitely it's an interesting phenomenon, but I don't really think it matters too much. I guess, like, again, you're right. It's a very American-centric thing because obviously we had Superman down here, but we didn't. It was just It was just Superman, right? It was a thing, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, let's see where he goes with this, because right now he's just kind of waffling about how amazing it is, I guess. But I would like to know like a point, right? I'd like to have something to chew on.
How did this happen exactly?
Yeah, here we
How
go.
did manga become such a massive force and that it's now seemingly dominating superhero comics, what were once seen as the comic book industry? Well, in order to figure this out, we first have to look at the primary medium in which these books are advertised. And it's here that we get into the world of television and film. In the 2010s, superhero movies, specifically Marvel movies, absolutely dominated the theaters. Avengers Endgame, what was considered the 10-year culmination of an entire cinematic universe, became the highest grossing film of all time, generating $2,797,501,328. Superhero movies were on top of the pop culture mountain. However, after this, things started to slowly change. Nowadays, opinions on Marvel films and TV shows have begun to sour. While they do still have well-received films like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine, now it seems as though the well-received films are no longer outpacing the disappointments. In 2023,
I'm going to say it again.
I'm-
They ended the series. They made an ending, and suddenly I have to care again. Sorry, I can't care again.
I think that I kind of get the point that he's trying to make, but he's just taking a long time to fucking get there. He's trying to say the reason that manga is taking over comics is because comics is very directly tied to how good the supplemental media is, right? Which
Yeah.
I don't actually believe that. And the reason I don't actually believe that is because before Marvel, right? Before you had the big MCU and you had all of that, what did you have? You had like Batman the animated series, you had Justice League, you had, all these other kind of things, right? You'd have the odd Spider-Man movie, or you'd have like the odd superhero movie here and there, right? But wasn't really like a thing, right?
I've never read a single Spider-Man comic because I liked that one sci-fi Spider-Man with when they went to the other side of the sun where there was a dark...
Beyond, yeah. Is that Beyond?
I don't know. It was a cool version of Spider-Man.
I remember watching that as a kid. Yeah, that was a good one. Had a good theme song too.
I forgot it.
I saw it recently on Twitter, actually. Someone brought it up as a nostalgia thing. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that! Hell yeah! But like, my point here is, right, comics seem to be doing okay back then, right? They seem to be fine. There wasn't this, like, war going on between comics and manga at the time. They were, comics were just kind of there, and they were chugging along, and they were doing perfectly fine. There wasn't any issue, right? So I don't really think that the health of the MCU is necessarily the problem. I think it's more directly tied to the actual content of the books themselves, right? And then if we look at manga, and we look at what's going on with manga, I don't necessarily think, I think it's things like Demon Slayer, for example, where, I don't know if the argument is going to be made that because the Demon Slayer anime was super successful, that means that's why Demon Slayer kind of started taking off, right? I don't know if that's the case, right? But that seems like an outlier case. Like, how often do you see an anime comes out for a particular manga, and then suddenly that manga shoots up to the top of Shonen Jump, right? Like, immediately. Right, or whatever book that it's in. No, yeah, sure, the anime is going to advertise the series and you are going to get sales from it, but I don't really think they're as directly correlated as this guy seems to be making it out.
I do know there's always, there is a boost. There is increased sales and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying there isn't. I just don't think it's because what he's kind of saying here is the reason comic books are failing is because the MCU is failing.
No.
And I don't think that. like if manga was failing, if anime, let's say, was failing, I don't necessarily think that would correlate to manga failing. Is kind of what I'm getting.
No, I mean, that's that Mushoku Tensei clone anime from this season, right? I've heard the manga is cool, or the visual novel is cool.
Yeah.
Not the visual novel, the light novel is cool, or whatnot. But the anime is trash, and it's like, no, the story is completely different and way cooler in the light novel. And I go, oh, that's understandable. Bad adaptation. It's all right. It's all cool. I'm too busy to read it anyway. Or the reverse. Hey, Overlord. Ooh, interesting setting. But I feel by the amount of exposition and amount of talking and head thinking, monologuing, that this is a light novel of some kind. I'm going to read the light novel because I'm feeling the missing world detail. And I read the light novel and it's like, cool story. I'm going to read that.
Yeah, they're kind of different experiences, right? Is kind of the thing, right?
I kind of feel that this is a thing where Japan has the how was it called again? The not the platform economy, the multimedia, the
media mix. Yeah,
media mix. It's the media mix versus the American way of getting where I don't feel that media mix is still another thing in Marvel where they have kind of the same story going on.
Yeah, the only real media mix you have in like Marvel is you have like obviously the movies and the like kind of, but like it's weird because the movies are behind where the comics would be kind of. I want to come back to the media mix point, but I also want to because the chat's popping off. We got Jacob, we got guys, our boys in the chat are saying some really interesting stuff. US centric approach, markets catching up, swinging. Wonder if video is going to comment on the massive amount of advertisement the manga industry has been doing globally. I do agree that can be part of it, and I do think there has been more of a push on the JP side.
I don't think I don't even believe it's necessarily Japan doing the marketing. It's just manga is popular. Manga is popular. Let's market it.
Yeah, and publishers are catching on.
Yeah, publishers are doing the marketing.
It's not been a correlation from movie watchers to comic book readers and the entirety of it. Yeah, there's not been a correlation. Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like, I don't think there is as strong of a connection as this guy.
No, because like, the problem I really feel in this part particular is that because there is no media mix, I cannot read the story I saw in the movies with slight extra detail or extra scenes or slightly different scenes. I can't have... It's a completely unrelated story, and I don't like these characters enough to do other adventure.
I think Jake, I will cover the piracy aspect, but I think Jake puts it really good where he says, media mix versus multimedia franchising, right? Definitely. I think Joe had a video, or he had
a video on the media mix,
which I did quite like. That was a good video, and he talks kind of about that difference between media franchising and media mix, and in relation to like Star Wars. Is a very good example of that. But kind of talking about media mix, you want to know who's doing media mix really well right now? China. Like, you look at the gacha games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arknight specifically is absolutely fucking killing this shit, right? Because I was watching their live stream, as I mentioned before. They've got mangas coming out that are supplemental material to the events that are currently fucking happening in the game.
That's what you want. You want.
They got because right now in global we've got like the Siracusa stuff with Lapland, right? They have a Lapland manga coming out like right now, right? As like a backstory prelude to that, right? They also have the songs, right? They have a very strong like music component where they're making character songs. And they're making all these kind of extra stuff to supplement the media, right? So it's not just like you play the game and then you get
And then you
everything
grab
from
the
game.
grab the toy and that's it.
Yeah, but now with Arknights, it's like you've got all this other stuff you can dig into too, right? You've got all this, you can get into the songs, you can be into the music. Like there's whole channels that have gotten their start. Like you've got like, what's his name? There's a guy that I watch who does like music. He's like a musician and he does like music reactions to things, right? And his entire fucking channel took off because he was reacting to Arknight shit, right? And so I think that if you want to look at like great examples of media mix, funnily enough, like the Chinese gacha industry right now, and it's like it's not just Arknights, there's other companies kind of doing the same thing, but I think Arknights is the one most prominent in utilizing media mix effectively. It's very interesting to watch, right? How China is evolving in that sense in terms of how they produce stuff. And also to touch on the piracy aspect, because Jake says, I'm gonna be real, there's not a strong torrent/piracy culture around US comics as there is with manga, which the English market spawned from along with the importing. Yeah, like I do think that has a lot to do with it too, is like the ease of access, right? Because with manga, it's like, yeah, you can just go onto like Manga Dex or whatever site you want and just read manga, right? And sure, arguments about piracy and whether or not that leads to sales or not is, a separate topic. But I think the fact that it's so accessible and easy to get into definitely is a big reason why people why it's become so popular, right? Because it's you just get into it. With Media Mix, there's several hands across industries and committees to handle the development of the sales, while the multimedia franchising concentrates on the few common-owned working on the properties. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and the problem is
we're having good combos today. We're having really good stuff.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget that the media franchising means that there are 50 small stories instead of one big central grand arc. Grand.
Yeah, Arknights is interesting in that there is a main timeline going on, right? So you have a main, the world is advancing, characters are aging, and their side stories and stuff, while not directly necessarily related to the main story, they are happening in the same world at the same time. And sometimes, like, even in like the stories, people will be referencing events that are happening elsewhere, right? Like they'll be like, that country got nuked or whatever, right? And then characters will be talking about like a couple of years later in the timeline in a completely different event. They'll be like, man, remember when that country got nuked, right? And that kind of thing. It all kind of ties into each other. Like, and there's the world. Like, I think there's a couple of good videos out there about the world building in our Arknights, but the world building for that shit is fucking crazy. It's really good.
That does sound dangerously close to
the grand narrative. Yeah, the grand narrative.
Oh, the grand narrative is an actual term, which isn't the
thing.
It is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Good.
But anyway, we could get
go ahead.
We're gonna be here all day.
Would release The Marvels, and it would go on to become the lowest grossing film in MCU history.
Wonder why? It looks like shit.
Just painted blue. No, I'm.
Yeah, Blue Man, yeah, Blue Man Group looking motherfucker.
Also, I am kind of. I don't know. Alright, so maybe it's just me. I'm getting a little bit suspicious of this guy. Lowest grossing can mean, right, that the movie did. What's gross profit again? Was it just how much money you?
Gross. I think it's like how much after everything else. How much gross? I don't fucking know.
No,
I don't think it matters. I don't think it really matters, right? Because it's like I didn't even fucking know this movie came out. Right?
Yeah, because this was.
I literally had no idea this came out. No
this
one
was
fucking
the
talked about
second.
it. No one cared.
This was still the second movie after. Was it Endgame?
I'm blue, Baba Sorry, I'm sorry.
Nah. So I believe Marvels was the second movie after the Endgame. So that was still very much in the I am satisfied with where the story ended, and not people were still talking about Endgame, and suddenly this movie appeared in the background and was ignored. That's
So Jake mentions that box office profit does not factor in advertisement and the cut the theaters take. So.
Well, he did say. He did say. Was it? He didn't say profit. He said
I don't know.
Revenue or something. Oh no. I forgot.
He's just using like. I think it. Like I said, I don't really think it matters.
No, but
the movie didn't do great. But one of the problems though is like you have to like. What does that mean?
Yeah. So just saying, it was the lowest revenue. All right.
Still probably made 20 gazillion fucking.
Yeah, but was the revenue low because the costs were super high and therefore it didn't make the money back? Was that because the budget was just
Square Enix? It's a Square Enix situation. Where
Tomb
Raider sold like Tomb Raider sold like shit, even though it sold like $3
So
billion
I'm kind of that's my suspicion. Like the movie could have done great, but be a financial loss. So I'd like to have a little bit more detail on that before I judge it.
But kind of getting back to it, right? Like I don't. Again, I had no idea the fucking film even came out when it came out.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's the same. That's true for a lot of movies. So
well, but the thing is, right? Because if it was hyper woke or whatever, I would have known about it because people would fucking talked about it being hyper woke, right? But it's kind of that thing that I've talked about before, where it's like the worst thing something can be is mid, right? Where it's so boring, no one fucking talks about it, so you don't hear anything about it because it's just there. That's what this movie felt like to me. Was it came out and I saw literally no one talking about it. Like it just sort of existed.
Yeah, I'm going to blame the finality of the previous arc on it, where people were just satisfied. They didn't need another story.
I think if we're talking about the quote-unquote normies, I kind of agree with you, right? Where it's like, Endgame happens, the arc is over. The problem they have now is they're trying to, like, get you to care about all these new characters that no one actually cares about. Like,
also, a villain that's changed halfway through the was it?
Yeah, because a certain actor did a note.
Oh yeah, it's face. They changed through their face, so suddenly we need to care about the new
guy. Yeah, but again, so it's like I don't. Like who actually gave a fuck about Miss Marvel or whatever here? No one.
Yeah, because
really
if you ending with the world, if you're ended with the world ending, universe ending scenario, and suddenly you have to start super small again. How are we going to care about this super small story again when we just had the big universe ending story? So it was an impossible task to. My controversial opinion, Naratsu, there were some vague noises about the wokeness of Marvel because she was a woman or said something about women.
Well, that was the first one. The first one. This is the first one had a bunch of stuff, but it was mostly because it had a number of scenes in it that were kind of like the one. There was apparently a deleted one actually, where like she breaks a guy's arm over a map or something. That was
I don't know. But anyway, my controversial opinion here, Naratsu, is that any movie in this place would have been bad. Would have done bad. I mean.
Well, again, I don't know how. Anyway,
I believe it was the second.
Quick maths time. Total budget is movie budget plus advertising budget. So if the movie budget is 150 million and the ad budget is around 150 million, totaling 300 million to break even. If the box office profit is 150, the movie is 150 in the red. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
God, it makes sense to me. The math checks out. But anyway, let's continue.
History. And I mean, just this year, Captain America Brave New World released to incredibly mixed reviews and has seen a major drop-off in its second week in theaters.
I didn't fucking give a shit.
Okay. I just know that
actually leads. Okay. This kind of leads into a problem, right? And this is actually something that this guy could talk about, right? Captain America. So at the end of Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Steve Rogers, right? He's old. He becomes old man, right? Spoiler alert.
He is there and suddenly
He goes
he's
back
old.
in time. He goes back in time. He returns all the stones, and then he goes back in time and hangs out with his girlfriend until he becomes old, right? And then he shows up again, right? And he gives the shield to our boy here.
Yeah.
Our
Eventually,
African-American
I believe there's a movie
Yeah,
about it, but he gets.
No, there isn't. This is the problem. There's a TV show about it.
Oh, all right.
So this is the problem, right? So you have a situation where you have this gap in between Endgame and this movie, and in between that gap, there is a TV show that's only available on like Disney Plus or whatever, unless you pirate it or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a situation where how many people do you think actually watch the fucking show, right? And then they hear about, Captain America, Brave New World, but it's a direct continuation from the show. So, what the fuck? What did you expect was going to happen when, like you mentioned, most people have dropped out anyway because Endgame. People aren't going to go watch this TV show just so that they can be caught up on. What's going on with Captain America? What's this bullshit? Like what the fuck, right? Like what? That's part of the problem with the franchising versus the media mix, right? Because with the media mix stuff, I can enjoy the story of the current event in Arknights, the Syracusan stuff, right? I don't have to read the Lapland manga to get caught up on what's going on. Right, the manga is there as like a supplemental, where if it's like, I want more Lapland, I can read the manga and find out, Lapland was doing XYZ in between that event and this event, right? That's kind of cool, right? But you don't have to have read it, right? It's there. Whereas in this case, it's like if you didn't watch, what was it, Captain America, the TV show, what the fuck it was called? I can't remember what it was called. It was like something.
Me neither.
If you didn't watch that, you're going to have no fucking idea what's going on, right? It's like if you didn't watch, like, if you skipped, like, I don't know, a few of the Marvel movies, right? It's going to be like, who's this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I am one of those normie Marvel movie watchers. I watched, like, the first Iron Man movie, and the second Marvel movie that I saw was, I believe, Avengers. So I saw Iron Man, and suddenly he has a team of superheroes. It was cool.
See, and
superheroes.
This is the thing. They got it right in the first few phases, right? They got it right where it was like, okay, yeah, you don't necessarily need to watch 4 to understand the character of 4, right? You don't necessarily have to watch all of the movies to understand what's going on in Avengers, right? The way they structured the movie, right? 4 gets introduced and he fights Iron Man, right? And you get a pretty quick idea of, okay, that's he's Loki's brother. He's here to bring him back, right? You understand what's going on, right? It makes sense. But then it seems like after they kind of started doing, all this other stuff, right? They started doing the TV shows and they started doing all this other stuff. They've made it like way harder because they're tying in like really important plot relevant shit into this supplemental material, or what should be supplemental material. Like a good example of this was the Wanda stuff, the WandaVision show, right? The WandaVision show takes place right before the new Doctor Strange movie that came out afterwards, right? And if you didn't watch the WandaVision show, you would have no fucking idea. Wait, why is Wanda evil now? What the fuck? Why is she so obsessed with fucking, all this shit? What the fuck is going on? Wait, you're telling me she enslaved a whole fucking village? What the fuck happened? This is like,
I get the feeling that they should have just started over instead of trying to keep this massive interconnected web. They just had to build a new web and just made a few connection points.
They created a battle pass system for their content. Yeah, you miss out on the show. You miss out on key details. Yeah, and I agree with you. It's like, if you're gonna do the supplemental thing, right, where you do the media mix thing, or you do the thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna do a TV show, you can have the TV show interface with the movies, but you can't have it be like required watching, right? You have to be able to have a little bit of leg room for people that don't like want to pay for Disney Plus or whatever, to be able to like, oh yeah, I only care about the movies. I just want to watch the movies, right? I don't give a fuck about, TV show Captain America or whatever. I just want to watch Captain America in the theaters, right? That guy should be able to just go, and I think that's one of the reasons this particular one failed, from what I understand. And because again, I haven't watched it, I'm not paying.
I haven't watched a single Marvel after Endgame.
But from what I've heard from reviews, right, it's like that's one of the problems. Is like if you didn't watch the show, you're gonna be confused as to like, okay, who is this? Who are these people? Like, what are they doing? What was the motivation here? What the fuck, right? Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's why there was a massive drop off after the first week, because the first week you're gonna have a bunch of people go in, they're gonna be confused as fuck, and then they're gonna tell all their friends, hey, this movie's weird, don't go see it, right? Yeah, it's advanced FOMO. Yeah, it's very So I would argue that's something. I hope this guy brings that up, because I think that's a big reason why this one particular failed. Because I haven't heard anything about it being woke or anything, right? There hasn't been any like word of that. So I reckon it's more just the fact that it's a subpar movie that has a TV show tied to it, like a fucking cancer, right? It's kind of the problem. So anyway, let's continue.
It's no exaggeration. The film industry for a while now has been kind of bloated with superhero films, and people are beginning to move on to other things. Auteur films like Oppenheimer, or even video game movies, what was once considered to be the laughingstock of Hollywood, are now seeing unprecedented amounts of success. Marvel was once the king, but now its crown is very much in question. Meanwhile, anime is doing incredible right now. In the time that superhero films have been declining, anime has been rising. And what definitely helps things is that anime is much more directly tied to manga. If someone gets caught up on the One Piece anime, for example...
Anime isn't good because there exists manga.
He was so close to making, like, the accessibility point that we made earlier, and he just completely fucking whiffed.
No,
he just completely whiffed it. Because if he'd said, oh, it's because what was the shows that he's showing? One Piece, he's showing Dan to Dan. What do all of these have in common, Ellie? They're on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
You could just go on Netflix and you could just I was actually looking into this, but I don't know why, but One Piece like has almost all of the arcs on it, except for like the fucking Food Island one or whatever. Like the one it's weird. The Wako stuff as well. I can't I think Egghead Island is the most recent arc that's getting animated.
Oh, I'm not. I've watched the Red Zero One Piece.
I loosely keep an eye on One Piece. I'm not super. I just know because I was looking into it because I was interested, right? And like they have this interesting thing on Netflix where like they actually separate the different arcs as seasons. So if you just wanted to watch like the original One Piece, arcs, they're all separated and you can do that. They even separate like the filler as well now. So you can like the anime original stuff is like separated into its own like little seasons. So it's kind of cool. And that's kind of what I mean, right? Like outside of the stuff that it's missing, because right now it's missing a few of the arcs, right? Until they add them. If you wanted to get into One Piece, if you have a Netflix subscription, which most normies, right, I assume are kind of like either they have a Netflix subscription through their internet service provider, like I do, right? Because you can do that in New Zealand. Some internet service providers just give you perks and stuff depending on what plan you get, right? What it is, you can get Netflix, right? People are gonna, if you've got Netflix and you're using it, and you see, oh look, there's Dan to Dan. What's this? Dan to Dan's actually coming up soon, I think, on Netflix, and I'm probably gonna watch it on Netflix. Because it's just easier. It's just easier. I can just watch it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it on Netflix, right? And so that he was so close to making that accessibility point, but then he just whiffed.
No, my problem is more that Naretsu, Licorice Recoil is an anime original. And it was so popular that, oh wait, you know
Hideo fucking Kojima is walking around fucking New York with a fucking Licorice Recoil t-shirt.
And Licorice Recoil was popular enough to either, I believe it got like a short story, a book, I
think it's also got a second season announced too recently.
It currently has shorts, like 3-minute stories going on.
It's got a short thing, but I
heard
it's getting a second season.
And near the end of the season, there was noise about a Lilybell novel. Like, side story, world building,
media mix.
Whatever you want to call it. But all this comes from an anime original. Why is he saying that anime is good because there is a close connection to manga? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I agree. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Let's continue.
They can very easily buy the manga to pick up where the anime story left off. The anime and manga.
This is media mix. The benefit of media mix.
About that now, yeah, he's talking about that now, yeah.
To one another seamlessly. Meanwhile, comic book movies, while they draw from several different sources, are typically their own thing. They don't feed into the comics nearly as much as the anime do, and thus, there's not as much incentive from the viewer to dive into that source material. However, I think this problem goes much deeper than just how these comics are advertised and promoted. I want to ask all of you a hypothetical question. Let's say that I'm someone who wants to get into the One Piece manga, and naturally,
this thing.
He's doing the thing.
I should start.
I hit the wrong button. He's pretty much doing
exactly the thing we said.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Yeah, it's like, where do I start if I want to watch One Piece? Well, you go watch One Piece.
Read One Piece, whatever.
Go read the One Piece. Start at chapter 1, volume 1. There you go. You remember that old V-Pick with the Da Vinci paintings where the DLC expansion? Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, that's a classic. Speaking of which, 4chan's back up, I believe.
Yeah. And Naretsu, for all the downgrade, the kind of the how do you call it? I have terms, but they're Nederlands. The verwatering, the verwaarlozing from 4chan is, times times move on and old sites go by the wayside. Still, that 4chan has still enough, information, knowledge, things on it. It would be kind of a shame that it would go right now. All the big general threads with all the knowledge inside them on the VG, for example.
It would be a bit of a loss, yeah. And I think, kind of off topic, but the 4chan thing was people don't really understand what 4chan actually is. Because a lot of people, they think about the hacker known as 4chan as, they think of 4chan as, a singular entity, but 4chan is more like a whole bunch of separate micro-communities. You've got your racists over on fucking... you got your racists over on Pole or whatever, right? But, then you've also got the people on, the tech boards, right, that are doing, technology stuff, or the finance boards that are doing, finance stuff and stocks and crypto or whatever. And then you've got the people on the porn boards posting all their fucking lewds or whatever, right? It's not as uniform of a site as people like to make it out, right? And I think losing some of those communities because of dumb internet drama shit would actually be quite detrimental to the wider.
I will always say that I have the best discussions on specific manga happen on a or I can have in-depth conversations about themes and meaning and panel layout choices on A that I don't have in other internet discussion fora places. So therefore, 4chan ain't that all that bad. I mean, V being bad, alright, I can get it. It's kind of hard to talk about video games as is, but you can throw some literary literature analysis on some manga, so it's all fine and well. And of course, Fiji is where
you learn to draw. You learn to draw. You go on. I see. Yeah, exactly.
And the thousands of mods and knowledge and problems that people can solve.
Resources too.
Yeah, those are kind of the thing that all the different resources on Fiji with modding or playing old Vita games or DS games. If I want to play a DS game, I can try to search on a Reddit place and whatnot, and maybe it would work. Or I can go on Fiji and go to the paste link on top of the thread, and that is all the info. But yeah, anyway, that is why Nerds and I think that 4chan still has value. Even
4chan has value. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but let's hear him.
Know how to use. If you use. Look, how you use YouTube, 4chan is you just go on for what you want to go on for and just don't fucking read retarded comments and get... It's literally all you have to do is just not read retarded shit and get mad, right?
I mean, also the threads on how to become ordinary are interesting because we all do psychoanalysis of the characters and whatnot, and it's fun to do. And anyway, that's enough 4chan. Let's hear him say what we said and what he's going to say.
Let's hear him repeat what we said, yeah.
No, seriously, this is a real question. How do I get into the One Piece manga? I'm serious. Go ahead. Think about it and tell me your answer. I'll wait.
This takes too long already.
Okay, so I'm willing to bet there is a large majority of you who simply answered start at volume 1. And that would be absolutely correct. One Piece has a definitive beginning where you're supposed to start, as is the case with most manga. It's simple, intuitive, and easily accessible. Now, why would you tell someone who wants to get into Spider-Man comics?
The last, the new edition, whatever.
I imagine that if you were to ask any number of comic book fans this question, you would get so many varied answers. And that's because the truth of the matter is that there is no definitive answer to this question. Superhero comics can be incredibly overwhelming. Any number of series and characters can have years upon years of different runs, spin-offs, reboots, alternate storylines. It kind of comes off as a jumbled mess to new readers. And not helping things is the fact that so many of these comics are part of a universe that seeps into a large number of other different series. Here, let me give you an example. When I was in college, I really wanted to get into IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I already really liked Ninja Turtles, but the art here was so incredible, and I really dug the overall tone, and the backstory for the Turtles was really interesting in this specific iteration. I really wanted to keep reading. However, there was something that kept happening in the comic that really turned me off. Every now and then, the characters would talk.
Crossovers?
I
think.
We'll find out.
Talk about events that had just never happened within the comic itself. And when they did
as seen in TMNT Donatello Micro Series number 3 BC.
I forgot that those existed.
That's great. Just have like the little fucking like notation there, so you know it's fucking goddamn.
That's just this is just bad marketing. This is bad selling on extra content.
Hey guys, be sure to watch episode blah 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 of Critical Critique to find out when we talked about this thing that I'm referencing. That we talked about.
Do this at the end of the chapter or issue.
Oh god.
Don't include your commercial right in the middle of the sentence.
Oh my god. Alright, let's keep going.
Talk about these little box would show up right
Oh,
in the
yeah,
corner
yeah.
telling me to check out this specific issue from this spin-off comic that explains
Also,
what they're talking
Naretsu,
about.
the smallest thing, I for a second thought that I made this was part of the comic.
Yeah.
The text bubble, not the guy.
Yeah.
And I just really didn't like that. I just wanted a simple, painless reading experience and didn't feel like dividing my attention amongst a bunch of different spin-offs that, quite frankly, I just didn't have any interest in. And yeah, you can make the argument, well, you don't have to read all of those different series, you can just ignore it. But the issue with that is that not everyone is going to share that same sentiment. For some people, they don't like just ignoring details and not having the full picture. I imagine there's a good amount of people like me who get alienated by this kind of stuff. And this is a huge aspect of comics. I mean, just look at the massive crossover events that Marvel or DC have every now and then. The 2015 Secret Wars event had its own comic dedicated to it, but it was also spread out amongst so many different series, with nearly 50 different tie-ins all related to it. And that's not even mentioning past series that happened before Secret Wars that also had a part to play in the storyline. And look, I get it. I can understand why this is appealing to people. It's a grand, epic story that encapsulates every corner of the universe. But it can also be incredibly alienating to new readers. Anyone who's looking to get into comics.
Alright, so this
He's
kind of...
he's kind of we get it. We get it, mate.
Also-
we get it.
Also, this kind of... Alright, Naretsu, this feels like, where do I start in Gundam? Alright, just pick the latest one. This would be my answer.
Well, yeah, you could pick the latest one, or like quite literally, you can
Look at the characters and which one do you think look nice?
Yeah, or you could just talk about, depending on who you're talking to, they could just say whichever one they like, and then that's also just a valid answer, right? Like if someone likes Gundam Seed or Wing or whatever, they could just say that, and then it's like, okay, I'll start with that, and it's like that's not wrong, right? Like you're not starting from a wrong spot if you're watching those.
No.
Right? It's not a problem. Like I could say to people, yeah, go watch the Netflix 079 movies because I reckon they're really good, right? They're old, but they're
cool.
I like them, right? Yeah, and you could start there, and then because that's what I did was I would because I had that experience. I was like, okay, where do I start with Gundam? Well, on Netflix, they just so happened to have the movie versions of 079, right? And Char's Counterattack and whatnot, right? Still need to get around to Zeta, but I'll get there eventually, right? But I just started there because I saw that it was available, and I was like, all right, okay, cool. I'll just watch that then. I'll just start there. And so again, it's one of those things where there's no real like wrong answer to that question. I think a better example is like because people always talk about how Fate Stay Night or Fate is like really hard to get into, which I don't actually believe, right? Because where do you start with Fate, right? A lot of people will tell you, well, back in the day, they would say, you got to watch the original 03 anime, or, you got to watch, Stay Night, or, you got to watch, what's
Read the light novel, or, the visual.
Read,
We're doing the reverse now.
Read the light novel. Well, there is a light
visual.
novel. It's called Apocrypha. Go read Apocrypha, or
the visual novel.
There's all these different Fate, stuff, right? Fate Zero, that's what I was thinking of, right? Fate Zero. You can watch Fate Zero, right? Like there's all these different Fate animes and mangas and light novels and visual novels and all that. Where do you start, right? Like, and I think people make it way more complicated than it needs to be. Like you just fucking watch something Fate related, right? Yeah, watch Carnival Phantasm. Watch Fate Ilia Persmia. Don't watch anything else. Have you ever seen that meme where someone's like, what is the proper Fate watch order? Or like, what is canon and what is not? And it's literally just all of the Ilia fucking animes. And then all of the other stuff is like, okay, that's side content you could skip.
It is true. Ilya is his own universe, so it would be
Yeah,
technically
exactly. So you just
side
watch Ilya
content
and
for the
you're-
others.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I mean, right? Like, there's no. I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer to that question, right? I think that, you know, you just go with whatever looks interesting to you, and if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not, right?
So,
Pretty
so
simple.
not to completely contradict what we said before we started to watch this video, because I'm getting some vibes that makes me. I'm getting vibes from this guy that makes me defend the thing that he is attacking. He's kind of.
Yeah,
he's
you
kind-
just wanna defend it on reflex.
He is but yes, it is a barrier to have 1,000 Spider-Man or maybe even 1,000 Fate titles, and you don't know where to start. Fate is kind of easy. If you want to start at the beginning, go read Fate Stay Night, the visual novel. It's on Steam. It's or take the old version. It's all.
It's around. It's around. Right?
Yeah.
It's around.
So, but if you want to do Gundam, if you are from, oh, that looks ugly, it's too old. Alright, go watch this new one, GQ, the newest new, this season. That's a Gundam. It's all good. But,
So saith the Gundam.
yes. But,
Watch that. Yeah, I know. 5 hour. I gotta watch Zeta. I know. I know. I gotta go. Yeah, watch
but yes, it is a barrier. It is a question that you need to ask if you're unsure about it. But it's not a impossible web of, intricacies and nuance and whatnot. You can start at a start basically anywhere. If it's a start of an issue, if it's a start of an arc, you read it and those characters will be introduced in some capacity. It's all fine. Don't worry about it so much. You don't need to read all the extra advertisements things into your turtles. You don't have to know every single minor plot detail of a previous issue.
I think the difference, to kind of play the alt here, right? I think the difference is, like, if I'm starting to watch Fate, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a pop-up window shows up and says, like, when a character references something that happened in, like, Fate Zero. It's not
the
like a pop-up
second
shows
Grail
up.
War.
That second Grail War, and then a pop-up shows up in the corner of the screen that says, "Watch now, Fate." this is reference. Like, so I get the criticism of that, right? And I agree that they should probably handle that a little bit better, right? However, in saying that, yeah, I do kind of agree with you, where it's like, yeah, you can just ignore it. It's not, it's not that big of a problem.
If it's about a character that you don't care about, don't read it.
Yeah. Magician of D says, IMO, the video isn't wrong, but thus far it's making the same points everyone else already has made 1,000 times. It isn't adding anything new to the discussion. It just makes the guy's waffled on about this way too fucking long.
Also, it did make the very odd statement of anime is good because manga exists.
Yeah. Shocking statement, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep going.
Really isn't going to get anything out of it the same way that people have been invested for years will. And to me, that's the ultimate conundrum when it comes to getting into comics. They're both alienating, but also kind of strangely stagnant. I'm definitely not the first person to say this, but I feel as though superheroes have become kind of homogenous in this day and age. It's getting to the point that it doesn't feel like there's a ton of variety in what superheroes can offer. And not helping things is the ever-apparent reality that these comics will usually adhere to a status quo. It's well known at this point that superhero comics rely very heavily on established characters and lore. That's not to say that things don't change in comics or there aren't big shakeups, but it's also not wrong to say that it's safe to assume that a lot of things will go back to normal in the long run. Characters will get their powers back, they will beat the bad guys, and most of the time they will come back to life. And this is because superheroes aren't just a single writer. They're a smaller part of not only an entire universe, but an entire company. And this means that, yeah, they're victim to executive meddling. Certain things might not be allowed to happen in a series because of something else happening in a different series, or because they need the story to go in a certain direction to prepare for a big event. And not only that, but sometimes even things outside of the comics determine what goes in them. Do you guys remember when the X-Men were super downplayed in the comics because Disney didn't have the movie rights to the X-Men series? And
Yeah, that whole fucking thing was weird. Like, yeah, we can't. Listen. You have to. You're not allowed to have this big part of the universe because copyright. Ellie, it's your favorite. It's your favorite topic. It's your favorite.
Kill
thing.
copyright.
It's IP law.
Kill it.
Yeah.
Kill all of it. Nobody can have IP.
Kill copyright. Toss copyright into an active volcano. Slam dunk copyright into a trash can.
Nobody can own characters. Nobody can own intellectual
God.
property.
It was the same thing with Spider-Man for a while too, like, until Marvel and Sony eventually. I think Marvel now owns the Sony stuff now because they just brought it. But like it used to be that that was why Spider-Man wasn't in the MCU for a while.
Yeah, and but Sony
That
just
shit.
still tries to, it buys rights to minor comic book villains and tries to make a thing, but it keeps not really working. But they keep trying. Eventually.
Yeah.
Marvel will have to acknowledge their existence, that Venom is doing stuff over there. Eventually,
Yeah,
Sony says.
Yeah. Venom did have a cameo in one of the Marvel things. So
It works. It's working. Keep going.
yeah, keep going.
Next up, Morbius will appear in the
Morbius. Yes.
will appear in the Blade. Will be mentioned in the Blade movie by reference only.
Oh no! Didn't the Blade movie get scrapped again?
Oh, no.
Who'd have got scrapped?
Damn. Next.
Yeah, apparently it either got scrapped or it's on like it's like fucking hiatus. I can't remember.
It just reminds me.
I saw some news story about how they've kind of that new Blade movie is kind of scrapped, which is kind of funny because I don't know if you watch Deadpool, but in Deadpool, who the actor for the old Blade, right? Because he's playing Blade in Deadpool. He's like, there's only gonna be one Blade. I'm the only Blade. There's only gonna be one Blade, and then like Deadpool's like looks at the screen because the new Blade's was being made, and now that movie's been scrapped. So he was right.
Yeah.
Blade was correct. There's only gonna be one Blade. I'm the only Blade.
Reminds me of there was this minor news story where Amazon spent, was it $15 million on a Lara Croft script that was never written. They just couldn't. They spent $50 million and nobody could write a movie. They couldn't write a script.
They couldn't do it. They could have paid me $50 million to not write a script. I am available. Yeah. All right, well, let's continue.
so they value that franchise, yeah, that's something that can happen. Meanwhile, with manga, you're typically getting a single creative vision. That's not to say that outside forces, such as editors or even fans, don't play a part, but for the most part, it's the author's story, and there's not nearly as many hands involved in the process.
Hey,
Along with
that's
this, there's just a lot
creepy
more of a-
nuts. Just a small detail. I'm pretty sure that's Creepy Nuts, both of those two.
Could be, yeah, could be.
Just odds that are
variety
included
within
here.
the world of manga. There's so many stories and genres that simply stand on their own and appeal to a much wider audience. Superhero comics, for the most part, appeal mostly to male audiences. That's not saying that women can't like comic books, but historically, it's a male-dominated medium. Whereas with manga, it's easy for anyone of any background, belief.
All right.
Interesting angle. Interesting.
Yeah, but here I want to kind of include graphic novels in the equation. Yes, it's fair to, if you want to keep it on comic book movies, but the comparison should really then be between shonen and comics, not between comics and the
The entire
manga.
manga industry. Yeah. And even then, it's like, I mean, you got to be careful when talking about generalizations.
Yeah.
A little bit, because it's like, yeah, it is true statistically that comics, and even to another extent, anime and manga have been kind of male dominated. However, that does not necessarily mean that it can't appeal to the womans, the womans, those separate creatures, Ellie. That okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look at the chat. Banged about this for years on the previous streams. The semantics of comics in the US.
Yeah, because
almost there.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
In my native language, I don't really have a difference between comics and graphic novels. They're all.
And I mean, of course, when you're like young as well, like back in the day when I'm watching like cartoons on TV, I'm not making a distinction between Cardcaptor Sakura and fucking, Batman or whatever. It's like it's all cartoons to me, right? They're all the same, right? It doesn't really matter. But anyway, let's continue.
For gender to enjoy these stories because it's just not nearly as homogenized. And I think that's the ultimate strength of manga. American superhero comics are usually a specific thing, but Japanese manga can be.
Alright, this is even more egregious. Don't use comics versus manga, use graphic novels versus manga. That's the fair comparison.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit. He's being a bit weird here. He's being a little bit on the weird side on this, yeah.
Only continue to grow. So I have to ask the question, does this mean that American comics are going to die? Honestly, no, I don't think so. I need to clarify that I don't hate superheroes or anything like that. None of this comes from a place of malice, more so just observation. And from what I can observe, although superhero comics don't dominate the market like they used to, they're still generally doing pretty okay in the grand scheme of things. If anything, I think manga represents less the death of superhero comics and more of a shift in what American comics will become more popular. There will always be a demand for superheroes, but I also have to wonder with these trends if Marvel or DC feel the need to make any shifts in their strategies. Perhaps to more standalone stories that focus less on established characters and more on new ideas and individual authors. That's
Alright, so I'm getting the lack of acknowledgement of graphic novels really starting to really hurt this section.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It's starting to, it's a problem.
To say, because I mean, why do people go to DC and Marvel? It's for superheroes, and if they stop providing that, then I can imagine people will begin to lose interest. What I think will happen is Marvel and DC will stick to what they know best, and instead we'll begin to see a larger influx from other publishers and creators that are more concerned with telling very focused stories from people with one creative vision.
Alright,
now that's a good thing.
Now he's doing it in the last 10 seconds of his.
This not enough. This is not. This doesn't make up for it.
Get your terms straight is the problem.
Also,
right?
we had that statistic thing, right, where author was a bigger share of the market than superheroes, which makes me think that already graphic novels have overtaken comics. At all, in general. So why are we... If we already established that at the beginning of the video, why are we kind of... how do I express it? Kind of melancholically talking about the transition into a new soft era of a field of white snowdrop flowers. Though he gets kind of that vibe of this video of the sections is giving me, but We already know that from the beginning of the video. Why are we talking about this as some sad realization?
Yeah. And I think let's finish because we've got 35 seconds left because I do want to talk about what Destroidoid's talking about, the whole like people just naming their shit manga. So we'll get to that in a second, but let's just kind of just finish the video so we can go into. Oh no, my phone's going off because I should be waking up now.
I should be going to bed soon.
In this day and age, what people want the most are just good stories they can relate to, easily pick up and read, and have a beginning, middle, and end. And that's something that manga will always be able to provide. No matter who you are, there's always going to be a story specifically for you. And that, to me, is the true beauty of manga.
Alright, well, there we go. How do you actually define anime? Well, that might be an interesting one for another time. I might have to have another one of his. Because the mainstream anime one was the original one that was in the queue. So maybe we'll do. I mean, we don't want to do the same guy twice, but maybe we'll do some of this guy's stuff another time. So before I do final thoughts, right, to touch on that point, right, I think it is a bit of a problem, right, when you've got people making graphic novels, right? Like Meat Canyon or Corey, whoever the fuck his name is, right? And they want to like call them manga, right? Because it's hard because on the one hand, I don't necessarily think that you don't want to fall into the trap of manga can only be Japanese, right? Because I don't think that's actually helpful, I guess. I think the issue is like one of like, how would I put this? It's like, it's not necessarily about like respect, but there's a difference between like, okay, I want to make like a manga. I'm going to do it in this particular, it's going to be in the manga format. It's going to be read left to right, you know, or how, you know, it's going to be black and white. It's going to use the same paneling structure as a manga, right? It's going to have an anime kind of style to it or a manga style to it. I think that if you do it in a way that is actually, you know, I think you there is circumstances when someone could call the work a manga, is what I'm kind of trying to get at. I think the problem with the Meat Canyon and the Corey thing is that they are pushing really hard to like be given the label when I think the label is something earned and given, not taken, if that makes sense.
So right? Yeah, very coincidentally, I have a book right in front of me, or I had it. The Soul of Anime, it's called. Many studies of animation begin with the question about the object. What is anime? But I suggest a different entry point. Who makes anime? The chapters of the books can be written as an attempt to understand anime's value in terms of a circle of interactions across categories of producers. Does this sound maybe like a quick answer? Also, this could be easily applied to manga as well in that sense. If he's I am kind of interested in his how do you define an anime, because very coincidentally, I have a book with this exact question, almost like.
Yeah, well, maybe like I said, we'll add it to the queue. Maybe we'll give it a go next.
When I finish this book, because I never really started it.
Yeah, when you finish it. But back on the manga question, though, right, and specifically that, right? I feel like if they brought out their book, right, and they called it a graphic novel or whatever, and then people looked at the book and were like, oh, wow, this is actually more like a manga. And then started calling it a manga, right? I wouldn't have a problem with that, right? I wouldn't have necessarily a problem with that. I think the problem is that they are trying to kind of claim the label, right? They're stolen valoring the label, in a sense.
Yeah,
right?
but this is also...
And I think that's why, like, because people are not, like, as we know, Ellie, right? People are not very good at articulating their feelings, right?
We are not either.
They're not very good at exactly. But so I think because what happens is people are like, you can't call it a manga. You're not Asian, right? You're not Japanese.
Oh no.
You're not. You don't live in Japan. You're not manga is a Japanese thing or whatever, right? And like I said, I feel like that's kind of reductive, right? And because I've seen like people point out, the No Game No Life author's like Brazilian or some shit, like he was born in Brazil, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
There are cases where it's like someone can make an anime or a manga and they're not fucking Japanese nationality. So I don't really like the idea of tying it to a nationality, right? Even though anime and manga is a very Japanese thing and it originates from Japan and you have to recognize that. I think that if someone respectfully creates something that is in the style of an anime or a manga, as long as they don't try and like claim it as like a stolen valor type situation, and if people want to just call it an anime or a manga because that's the genre that it fits into, then it's cool. It's all good. The problem is when people get the vibe, right? They get the vibe of this guy is trying to claim they're only calling it a manga because capitalism's cynical. They want to market their thing.
Yeah,
right?
the popular terms, the popular associations.
They want to get in on the cash grab, right? They want to get in on the popularity. That's when people get that vibe, right? That's when the backlash starts happening from, with Meat Canyon and the Corey situation, right? Now, I don't know as much about the Corey situation, but I know with the Meat Canyon situation, I mean, he had that one fucking lolly video or whatever that we haven't covered, but is somewhere deep in the queue that I don't really want to cover because I don't like talking about that topic that much these days because it's too hot. You attract schizos when you talk about that shit. So, but I'm bringing it up because, like, Meat Canyon has been, like, disrespectful to the animes in the past, right? If that makes sense. So for him to come out and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm making a manga. Look at guys, please buy my manga. It's a manga. I'm calling it a manga," right? I can understand why people would kind of be like, nah, we're not doing this.
So yeah, I in a sense or two, I don't think I mind, people misappropriating the term anime or manga all that much because people know, people can feel. If you're, I can feel. This feels a bit Dutch. Let me check the guy who made. Oh, he's a Dutchman. That makes sense. Or when Disco Elysium suddenly has a bureaucrat talking about applications to become members of the intranational association and how the process is bullshit and takes way too long and never is really about is this person maybe in a European in Europe somewhere, which underwent a very difficult application to become member of the European Union. Oh look, he's from Estonia, a former Soviet nation, and had a difficult time to get into the European Union. How odd that I can just feel these cultural and things from a story that they write. So. And even, this is why I don't mind it that much. You can feel it.
Yeah, well, as Samu kind of points out, if you've seen pages from Corey's books, it fits a lot of the general sticks. That's why I'm not really going to comment on the Corey situation, because I don't know a lot about him and where he stands on things, and I don't really know his work all too well. So I'm not going to say one way or the other if he is legit or not, but with Meat Canyon, I 100% would believe that it's cynical because he's just a fucking asshole. So
yeah,
it's kind of like, if he's just an asshole, then it's like, yeah, no, I that's bullshit, but I believe it, basically, right?
Yeah, but also I am not going to crucify somebody. Maybe, that's Papa Meat. I think his actual name on the channel was, in the queue at least.
Yeah, that's Meat Canyon. That's Meat Canyon.
Oh yeah, Meat Canyon.
It's the same guy.
All right, Meat Canyon. Meat Canyon looks his thumbnail is very annoying, so I kind of I'm inclined to believe you.
Already, you're inclined to hate, yeah.
But I'm not going to crucify him kind of in advance, but it will just be apparent in the work, and
right.
So I won't be that upset about it if he's going to use the wrong words or the wrong terms. I mean,
but yeah. Anywho, final.
Oh yeah. Also,
I
forgot this other thing, right? Also, him hating Lolly and wanting to make a manga, I don't mind because it's not like the Japanese all agree that Lolly is okay or something.
Yeah, I can get that, but I just think like having the attitude is a red flag. Basically, it's a.
I know, I get it, but people are different. People have different opinions in Japan. They aren't all the same monolithic people.
Well, obviously,
yeah,
obviously, but like it's always a bit of a. That's why I'm saying like you shouldn't tie this to nationality. You should tie it to attitude, right? You should be like, are you actually calling it a manga because it's actually a manga, or are you calling it a manga just to be cynical?
Yeah, but if it's a wrong, if he's using the terms wrong, if he's using the genres wrong, it will reflect badly on the work. So it only hurts himself if he does it badly. So I'm not. Yeah, I'll repeat myself one more time. I won't be upset because it will only hurt himself. It will hurt the world. It will hurt his story, his work. So it will just kind of correct itself in that sense.
Makes sense, yeah. All right, let me just.
And I agree, Jake. There is, of course, the limiting factor of the we don't see the full breadth of all the mangas that exist. That's impossible. But
there's too many coming out. Yeah.
So
exactly. So anyway, if we don't have any, because I don't really have any other thoughts on the video.
No, I already kind of.
We've kind of done it. I'm gonna go grab a drink probably and get ready.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts for general thoughts. I never really did give my thoughts.
You talk about the video and then switch to anime, and I'll be back in a place.
Yeah, so the video made me want to defend the thing that he was attacking. That's. If you annoy me in that way, that's kind of a bad video. He made such a big problem of a big mountain of these small problems that he had, that he could just, he could get over it. And kind of more feels like he didn't want to get over them than he really. And he wanted not. Yeah, he could get over the problems, but he didn't want to. He had some odd word choices that make me suspicious of his, level of insight, his level of understanding the subject. Him saying that anime is good because the close connection to manga. What about all the anime originals, my friend? Are those not good because there's no connection to manga? It would be. He would very much benefit him to learn about Media Mix because it would explain a lot. He could very concisely, tie that into his points.
Yeah, because Media Mix is something that I don't see a lot of people talking about, which is a bit of a shame because it is an interesting concept and it is an interesting. It's an important topic, in terms of how anime and different otaku media kind of get produced and what gets produced and that kind of thing. So yeah, all right. Well, I guess it's anime time.
Yeah. So don't worry, Jake. People come and go. It's all right.
Yeah. It's all good. We're all here to have fun anyway. It's all.
I mean, we had like a year hiatus all of ourselves.
Yeah, we had like a year. Yeah, exactly.
Unannounced.
The dark ages. Yeah. Oh man, God, yeah, we've had a fun time, yeah. So
Of
anyway, let me just get
nothing,
my
doing our own stuff.
let me get my thing up so I can look at what I've watched. So what do we want to talk? What do we want to talk about first?
I have my big categories. I can just press one of the three random buttons and see what's one, two, or
You'll
three.
have to wait for the let's go two.
Two.
What do we got?
Fire Force,
Hey!
Hide It, Witch Watch.
All right. Well, I'll talk about Fire Force then, because
Yeah.
it's okay. So not a lot really happened, and it's basically just okay. Big fights going on. They're trying to break the guy out of prison. You know, fun fights. More happened in episode 4 than episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Because episode 3 was mostly just kind of, oh yeah, here's some more establishment of, you know, what's going on. Here's an introduction to the new bad guys they're gonna fight. You know, that kind of thing. This episode was a lot more fun because you know what we got. We got some fan service, boys. Let's go. So they're fighting a chick who has magnetism powers, right? And they use the magnetism powers to grab Tamaki's belt and toss her around and have her get hit by all the metal stuff that's getting like thrown around. So the lucky lure activates and her pants fall off.
Yeah.
And so she's able to escape. And then the guy who's like the second in command, the glasses guy, he's like, yes, the only part on our uniforms that's metal is the belt. And so they all take their boots off, including the men. Everyone takes their pants off. And the chick that they're fighting is like, just gross. And the guy's like, we pose nude for the nude calendar every year. We have no shame.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's a good interaction. It's really good. Like, and that, you know, it's good Fire Force. It's classic Kimbo humor, right? It's really good. So yeah, they're fighting this magnetism girl, and they do another fan service thing where they cook molten metal on Tamaki's ass. Because they have to change the properties of the gold on her arm so that she can't do magnetism, so that the guy can shoot the person in the head, right? So they basically they do this thing where they have Tamaki use her tails to make like a fucking crock pot, and they toss a bunch of random metal shit into the fucking crock pot. So yeah, it's quite good. It's quite fun and creative. So yeah, Fire Force is chugging along. It's doing its thing. It's having a good time. It's good stuff. So I guess we'll move on to. I guess we'll do. But we'll go in order, right? We'll go up, down. Well, up. Start at the top, down, up, down, up, down.
All right. So which watch next? You mean?
Yeah.
So I believe we only talked about episode 1 last time, right? Or...
Yeah, we've got like 2 episodes to talk about for each show. So
yeah. In which watch? It's kind of hard to talk about because
things happened. Things happened
because it's not really romantic in that sense.
Did you guys end up watching the series being produced? Which one is that, Gruder? Because I'm not.
If it's if it airs this season even.
Yeah. You'll have to let us know what one that is, and we'll look it up.
So you know they head into school, and they didn't I say that he was. Last time that he was catch the truck and he has a bit of a man has a bit of a
Princess Orchestra.
No,
no, I don't think any of us are watching that. No.
So which watch hard to talk about. They just have their fun comedic daily adventures.
It's not really. There's not really a whole lot of like digestible plot going on, basically.
The thing is, Maritsu,
there kind of is. There kind of
is like 5 grams in a whole kilo of
right. You get that little bit of spice, right?
Yeah, it's also spice. Like I believe I talked about episode 2 last week because times and Saturday airings, whatnot. So in the episode 3, the last episode, there's a new character. He's a Tengu. So we got a witch, we got an Oni, and we got a Tengu. And that's now the dynamic, and there are going to be more characters, so there will be more introducing characters, and all the jokes will be funny. She split herself up in 4, and she get more childlike each time she split up and didn't do anything. She was criticized by Mui, the guy, for having kind of all robe-ish clothing, and so she just does a spell that makes her wear the clothes from a fashion magazine, and then she shows stuff to Moi, but because you only see the front of the clothing in a magazine, she doesn't have any clothes on her back. So her bra and panties are totally visible, so she wants to show off the fancy clothing to Moi to impress him, but very much can't allow him to see her rear half. But then at the end, she turns around because she has got the opportunity to get some sweets or whatever, and then she sees it, and then they have a big fuss and gets a bit awkward, and it's in a sense a next step in their relationship, physical closeness and whatnot. But that is the kind of jokes and slow burn relationship thing that's going on.
Yeah, your typical type stuff. Yeah.
So I might just not talk about it because it's a
yeah. There's probably going to be a few like that where it's, kind of similar to Fire Force. So I'll keep talking about Fire Force, where it's like, yeah, stuff's happening, but it's not like really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and then next up, I'm going to talk about Witchwatch in this, and I'm going to say nothing basically happened. There's a new character though.
Well, we could put it in like a category of like, we're still watching it, but we'll only talk about it if something happens.
It's good. Episode good.
It's good, yeah. I haven't gotten to it yet, but we're starting to get to the point where stuff's dropping off, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to solidify what we're actually watching. So I guess if you're done with that, I'm going to move to talking about our sex.
Oh, I want to talk one small detail. The OP is one of the best OPs of the season of Witchwatch. And this episode, they did a fun little joke where the girl did a spell on the OP, and instead of being better or anything, it's now the raw production OP, where it's not colored in, where the frames, you see the frame timing and whatnot, and the notes on the individual scenes.
That's pretty cool.
So if you want to see the kind of production details of the OP, then it's on YouTube also. But episode 3, it was a fun joke, and then
I can talk about Lovebot.
Yeah, I watched it also.
Because it's a short show, right? So it's easy to talk about because it's a short one. I like it. I actually really like it. I think it's kind of it's got a unique kind of charm to it, right? Because it's a short show, so it doesn't really outstay its welcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a couple of gags per episode where, she's, trying to get him to have sex, but she doesn't know anything about sex, and he's like, no, get away from me, Fot. Be gone, Fot. and so they've got an interesting kind of dynamic going there. And of course, it's actually pretty well animated for a one of these kinds of ecchi shows as well. It's actually, they didn't cheap out on the animation. Her boobs jiggle really good. There's some good stuff there. You can find it uncensored pretty much as well, except for obviously, bottom half.
Yeah,
that's just normal Japanese. That's just normal Japanese standard practice. So, but other than that, no, it's the thing is that it is one of those shows where it's like there's not much to talk about really outside of like, yeah, the gags are pretty funny. And I did like the one at the end of the last episode where it's like she goes into sleep mode with him, and he's just lying there, awake because she can't move because she's shut down. He's just trapped there until morning.
When sleep mode has ended 8 hours later.
Sleep, 8 hours later, yeah, he's just trapped there with her hugging him. It's good. It's good. So it's charming, you know. It's fun and charming.
Yeah, I do have to say, I'm kind of disappointed that she doesn't know about sex at all. It's kind of a excuse. It kind of feels like an excuse to have the story slow down a lot or whatnot.
I think it works because, like, I feel like the point is going to be to kind of explore some different, because I mean, obviously, like, she's finding out about stuff from a Fujoshi.
Yes,
right?
it's all.
And she's talking about, the prostate is. I have to stimulate the prostate to make you feel good, right? Which I mean, yeah, but that's not entirely how it works.
Did she talk about her own prostate or something?
No. So, like, in the second episode, we get introduced to.
No.
So
I thought there was a line about that she had a prostate, because the only reference that she has is male biology, not her own.
Maybe, yeah, I can't remember, but like it's for the chat. Basically, in the second episode, we get introduced to a Fujoshi character who's one of her classmates that draws yaoi. And so she sees that the classmate draws yaoi and is like, "Oh, you know about sex. Teach me everything about sex." And so the Fujoshi is teaching her everything about yaoi sex. And so when she's trying to have sex with the main guy, she's like, "Pull out your prostate and let me stimulate your prostate so we can have sex. Where is the prostate?" That's not how that works.
Applying the porn logic to actual real life.
Well, yeah, and not understanding actual biology.
Oh no, I'm going to penetrate your womb with my big cock. That's going to be so good, and not a medical emergency at all.
Oh man, yeah, no. So yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun show. It's got a little bit to offer, I feel. But you know, I'll keep up with it, because again, it's short, right? It doesn't outlive its welcome. You can just kind of, excuse me. You can the best sex is a medical emergency. Yeah, you can just, it's only short, 6 minute or whatever. You can just download it, pop it up, have fun, and then you're done, right? It's easy. It's simple. I guess a show that's a little bit more complicated is because I have caught up on the Calcloon. I have caught up on Generic Romance. It is not. I've been lied to, Ali. I've been lied to. It is not actually a generic.
Oh no! About weird clone whatever.
Clone what? Yeah, the weird fucking SCP shit going on. Oh man. So this is fucking good. This is really good, right? Because you've got this, like, first off, the style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, very eye-catching, very
big black hair, big bold.
Yeah, very retro kind of style, a little bit. It's got a bit of that kind of 90s, 80s kind of feel, a little bit. Very interesting premise in that, okay, you have this, like, weird thing in the sky. You have this, all these kind of weird little things going on. There's a lot of play with, like, oh, is she actually the girl, or is she a clone, or is she, like, did something happen? What happened? Why is, like, there's kind of jumping around the episodes a little bit, and yeah, mid late 90s. Yeah, Jake's right. Yeah. Like, in this latest episode that we introduced to, like, this little Chinese looking girl with the Chinese dress, right? And she shows up and she's like, finding an apartment, and when they're looking at apartments, and our main girl is like, "Oh, why don't you move out of Calcloon? You could probably get work in Hong Kong or whatever." And there's like this, it's like the fucking world breaks for a second. And the chick's like, no, I would never do that. That last time, no. It's like there was a glitch in the fucking system or something, right? And she said something really weird, and it's like, that's kind of odd. That's kind of weird. And then of course in the last episode the tea house man comes back. It turns out he's in a gay relationship with the snake man, so that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. Because I believe you mention last week about or not last week, but last time we talked about the we get introduced to the pharmacist doctor guy.
Yeah.
Who's like he's like a snake. He's very clearly the bad guy because he's got snake thing. And then he shows up in the third episode and just kisses the main girl in front of the guy. And then he leaves and the guy just starts fucking losing his shit. It's fucking great. Oh, man. So, yeah, no, it's really good. I think it's really good because you do get a lot of that romance stuff, right? The kind of they're interacting with each other and they're kind of like doing the stuff. But there's also this like weird undercurrent of something's not right.
I mentioned that
wrong. Something's wrong here.
I mentioned that in the first episode, like weird prism up in the sky, people talking about nostalgia for a place that they're currently living in, and this place is either fake or alternate reality, but whatever I mentioned back then.
Yeah, there's something in the setting that's wrong. Like it's a simulation or it's there's cloning going on because there's the whole pharmaceutical thing and the pharmaceutical companies doing shit, or there's some like I describe it as very SCP-like because there is like some precedence in SCPs for there to be this kind of like undercurrent, like something normal, but then there's something weird, right? Like there's something like it on the face of it looks like a simulacra. Yeah. Jake's on point. Like it has that vibe. It has that vibe to it, right? And especially this episode where we got like the massive kind of dump at the end where she's kind of spilling her heart out to the guy. Like, I love you. I don't know if I'm the same woman as the girl that you loved or not, but I love you, but I'm also my own woman. I like lemon chicken and I like, I have my own likes and dislikes and, all this other kind of stuff. And then she passes out and that's the end of the episode as the cliffhanger, right? Like something goes right. Like she has like a fucking stroke, right? Something happens and she has a stroke. So I am fucking engrossed in generic romance here. I am really, really fucking into it. I think this is like I always like to talk about sleeper hits, right? I really feel this is sleeper hit of the season because I think people are going to look at it and they're going to think, oh, it's just
a generic romance.
It's a generic romance, right? It's a typical shonen or seinen or whatever, like adult, romance anime, but then you get into it and it's like, no, it is not fucking generic at all. There is some whack shit going on. So yeah, definitely going to keep watching it. Definitely going to talk about it. As we continue. So yeah, it's good. So Country Bumpkin.
I haven't watched past the episode where they were in the middle of the night in a small arena of which confronted the old man.
So you haven't watched the most recent one then?
No. Was it episode 3 or 2 4?
We're on 3, I think. Yeah, we're on 3, so you've watched 2. You're up to episode 2. Because episode 4 comes out literally right now. So, literally today. So I like Country Bumpkin. I think it's kind of cool. And because in the following episode, obviously he fights the witch girl, and they have a bit of a spar. And the witch girl is like, "Oh, you're cool," and he's like,
"I am not cool at all. I'm actually very lame.
You almost killed me," basically, because they have their spar basically, and then they they call it a truce basically before they destroy any of the buildings and stuff that's around, right? And then we kind of move on to the next day, and the general plot is, so our redhead girl, who's the adventurer, we get kind of her backstory and how she was saved kind of by our country bumpkin when she was a kid, and kind of grew up doing training, and then eventually became an adventurer because she wanted to kind of travel the world and stuff. And she's popped around because she wants our country bumpkin guy to train a bunch of newbie adventurers, right? And he's kind of like, oh God, please no. No, God, please, I don't want to do this. Please, no. I'm not. But he gets roped into the meeting, and then he goes to the meeting, and oh, look, it's the witch girl that he was fighting. And she's like, oh, yeah, I just so happen to be in the neighborhood. I'm going to join in on. And the butler, so he meets with the guild master so they can discuss it. And the butler questions his skills and is like, is this country bumpkin really good? And the guy's like, oh yes, please question my skills. I'm not qualified for this, please. I don't want to do adventuring. Adventuring's dangerous. I don't want to do that. I just no. And so that leads to redhead girl and him having a sparring contest, and he obviously wins. And then they're like, yeah, you could try. You please train the newbies. And he's like, oh God fucking damn. And so they go to a cave and they beat up a bunch of monsters, and the episode kind of ends with like a hippogriff type creature showing up, and I don't know if it's killed one of the students, but it's gravely injured him because it swoops in because they're like, why are there not that many monsters in this cave? It's kind of weird. There's only like a few monsters. What's going on? And then they walk out the cave and suddenly they get attacked by a giant griffin, right? So that's kind of where it ends. And again, I like it. I think Country Bumpkin's kind of interesting, if anything else, because, you know, you see it on Twitter a lot, right? People are constantly like, Ellie, why are so many anime set in high school? Why is it all high school kids, right? Why is it all, you know, the kiddies, right?
A lot of interaction between a lot of characters in a setting where they don't have other.
Ellie, why can't we have more animes with adult characters? And then it's like this season drops, and you have fucking generic romance in this, right? Which is literally about adult characters, and you know, in a world doing stuff. So if anything else, it's interesting from that perspective, where it is the thing that everyone claims that they want, right? So let's see if it actually manages to pull it off, right? And so far, I'd say it does. I think it's interesting enough to kind of keep up with. So yeah, I'll be sticking with it. Anyway, I get to take a break because you could talk about something I haven't watched.
Yeah. So can a boy-girl relationship survive? So Naretsu. Drama continues, basically. This is a pure
big drama,
and it's a little bit more considered than maybe your typical romantic comedy, because this point of the series is really about the changing dynamic when romance starts slithering in. What happens then? Because our blue-haired girl is into our guy, but they had this stable, after a small summary of the previous time I talked about it, they have this nice stable relationship. And suddenly romance starting to come into play. Lust and romance. And they're still playing off each other. It's all fine, it's all good, nothing really changes. Then this girl comes in, and she has an accessory of him that she got years ago, blah blah blah, and always, and also coincidentally, he saved. No, not he saved her. He basically gave her a flower 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and she got a bit of a crush on him back then, and now he's here back again, and he's a very diligent man, patient, and can fix the accessory that he made, and he's very cool doing it and whatnot. So she's back to crushing on him again, and our blue-haired girl thinks it's funny, amazing. This guy, a girlfriend, I have to see this. So she starts pushing for it until Naretsu, oh no, he's going to get a girlfriend. I hate this actually.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm gonna be the cuck.
So she switches up Naretsu. Instead of so she forced them two together because it's funny to see him squirm around another girl that he's not familiar with. Ha ha ha. And she likes him a little bit. Ha ha ha. Let's see how the dork gets a girlfriend. Oh no, he's going to get a girlfriend, like I said.
Yeah. Oh shit, I'm going to be the cuck in the situation. Yeah.
Oh no, but I don't have any feelings for him at all. Right?
Yeah, no, totally. Totally not.
So, the next episode, she gets replaced as the main model for the accessories. And this totally upsets her. Not at all, though. This is not a problem at all, though. But I am going to vent my anger on you. But this is not because I am no longer...
This is fine, right? This is fine. This is okay. Crying Wojak with a mask on. This is totally okay.
So,
this is totally okay, right?
Yeah, so in this plot narrative, because he wronged her for doing things that she wanted, because she didn't because she didn't know this wasn't it was actually the complete opposite. So she starts saying that she's going to move to Tokyo, because they're living in a small town in the middle of otherwise nowhere. I'm going to go to another big place, and then he's confronted. Do you really want to? We can be friends, whatnot. I said, no, I'm going to leave, and blah 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 blah. And then they have a big fight. But Naretsu, it was all a joke. It was all a ploy.
It was all a meme. It was all a meme.
For her to force him to get her to for him to apologize to her, to daring to replace her in his life in a way. But then Naretsu, he respects her choice. Oh, and Naretsu, even worse, he's sneakily trying to get approval to also go to Tokyo.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
And during this fight, Naretsu, they break up. Kind of officially, even though they were never a couple. So it's a whole, Witch Watch, fun, ha ha ha, with the smallest hint of a romance. This show, nothing but romantic tension and dynamics and whatnot. So they kind of now reset in a way, but she is still very much, this is my man. But she no longer really can stop this girl that is now clinging to his arm. Because she set that up. And other people think it's a cute couple. So, yeah.
Sounds like a fun time. Also, I haven't read Smoking Behind the Supermarket. Sounds good though.
Yeah.
I have to check it out. So yeah, what page are we moving to next?
103.
We started on 2, we'll do 3. Why not?
Alright, 3.
Funky order.
Funky order.
I get to talk about lesbians. Hell yeah.
Which ones? There are like 2 of...
Which ones? Alright, well I'll talk about my lesbians. So the Rock Show. So the TLDR over the last 2 episodes has been they're warming up to each other. They start an actual band officially. Here's the ground rules. They break the ground rules almost immediately because they start screaming at each other. no, okay, they're actually getting into it, right? That was episode 3, basically. It was like, okay, except we're in like, you know, the stages of grief, right? We're in acceptance, right? Right? She is accepting that this is happening now. Episode 4, we kind of get introduced to the family dynamic a little bit more. So she's trying to learn violin, and she's not doing a very good job at learning the violin. It's not going very well compared
This
to her
again.
sister. Yeah, basically it's that again. And the sister is kind of established as like, yeah, she's very fucking cold and hostile, and it's because the sister views both the mom and our twin tail girl, our yellow girl, as invading the family, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because 1, she's young, and 2, because the way she views it is her mom dies. It's established that the mom dies due to an illness.
Mm-hmm.
And so she views this new mom and this new sister as like, oh, they're trying to take my dad away from me, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to take dad away from me. They're invaders into our, you know, life. I want dad all for myself. I love my dad, right?
This is the only real family I have, and now I have to share that with these strangers and whatnot.
Yeah, which makes sense. You know, it's logical. It's pretty realistic, I'd say. You know, kids be like that, right?
Mhm.
kids do be like that.
People be
But
like
we
that.
also get introduced to the mom. Like, we've seen the mom a couple of times, right? She shows up a couple of times, right? And that's fine and dandy. But this is the one where we get to see that maybe the mom's not quite as good as we think, right?
No,
Because
but I already kind of got that vibe before.
Yeah, well, this is where it's a bit more explicit, because the mom comes in while she's practicing violin and is like, "Oh, you're enjoying the violin? You like the violin?" And then their eyes go fucking glazed. Do you like it more than the guitar?
Oh.
And the mom's eyes go fucking like, you know, when the gradiented, right? To indicate mental instability a little bit.
Oh,
and
I have a threat to my new social standing. I married this man for the social standing. You better not threaten my social standing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, because our girl plays it cool and is like, yeah, of course, mom, yeah. Right? Very, you know, because and then our mom is like, oh, that's good, yeah, we wouldn't want you to do anything that would, you know, embarrass the family or anything, right? Yeah, no, yeah. So there's a bit of that going on. And I'm kind of here for it. I think it's interesting, right? Like, very interesting. So we move into the next part, and they're looking for new members, right? They're looking for new members. They go. She's signed up on this website where people go to, like, you know, look for band members or whatever. A lot of them are weird. Like, a lot of the guys have got weird reviews because they're all creepy sex pests. So she's like, okay, woman only, no men, woman only. And they see, oh, there's this symphonic band that needs a bassist and a drummer. We should join up for that because it's safe, because it's all old people, right? And we can get practice doing live show by doing it, right? And turns out that our girl can play our yellow-haired girl can play the bass because she practiced the bass to get better at guitar, which is a thing. That is actually a thing. Little Naretsu factoid. I'm not good at playing the guitar probably anymore, but I was learning in high school, so I have a bit of guitar knowledge. I have a little bit of the music. I did a little bit of that. So yeah, and it is said that learning the bass does help you learn the guitar, because the bass is a very similar instrument to a guitar.
Yeah.
It's just less strings and slightly different kind of method, right? But it's kind of like how, like, a lot of the time in art, people will say if you're kind of stuck in a bit of a rut, it's good to try a completely different medium. Like, for instance, if you're a painter and you're in a bit of a rut, it's good to kind of maybe do some sculpture, right? Or maybe do some something different that's not painting, right? Because it gives you a different perspective creatively, right? And so our girl is like, so both of our girls are in agreement. All right, yeah, we'll sign up for this band. It'll be cool. Let's do practice. Now, while this is happening, the sister character encounters a cat and is telling the cat, like, oh, these two witches have invaded my house. How do I get rid of them or whatever? And the cat runs off. And you're never going to guess this setup, Ellie. You're never going to guess the setup here, right? The sister bumps into the old school building and sees our girl in the window playing the bass. And she's like, oh, is this it? Is this my in? I'll be able to get rid of this bitch once and for all. And so she runs in and opens the door, but she's playing the violin and the other girl's playing the piano.
Oh.
What? What's going on? What happened? Oh, no, sister. I'm just here practicing with my school friend, you know? And sister's about to go ballistic, but then notices, oh, wait, holy shit, that's that girl from that family that produces every single prime minister for the last 10 right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, it's her. What the fuck? Oh shit. Oh god. And so the sister does kind of have a bit of a meltdown at the end while leaving. Basically, you know, being like, no, you'll never be part of the family. Fuck you. I hate you. Right? And then she leaves, and it turns out like so our yellow-haired girl is like, oh, how did you know she was coming and you warned me? What the hell happened? It's like, oh, it's a little secret. And it turns out that apparently our black-haired girl has spies around the building that are watching to probably specifically for this situation. So things are interesting in that regard. And so the episode kind of ends with, okay, they meet up with the symphonic band, which is again filled with a bunch of old people, but it's fine. And they're all like, hey, we're all just here to have fun. You know, we're all going to have, you know, fun and whatnot. Yeah, it's going to be good. But the friend of the sister is also going to the event with the sister. Oh no, they might get found out. Find out next episode in Rock Lesbian. Oh, excuse me. Naretsu went from slapping bass to slapping a fat bass. I never did play. I played around with a bass a little bit. I didn't really learn it too deeply. I did play around with one, but I didn't really get too into it. I was more of a guitar guy. Guitar is actually quite fun to learn. It is a bit complicated, but once you kind of get like the basic gist of how tab works and how, like, you know, you just have to remember like what each of the numbers mean. And like this fret on this string on this fret in this area, right? It's a lot of memorization.
Yeah, I got some, you know, guitar-shaped instrument players in the family, so I know stuff. Yeah. I can't play it all, so, but you know, I know things.
Yeah, I could probably do like Paint It Black and the James Bond theme, and that's about all I'd remember.
Those aren't very complicated. Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not very complicated. So it's interesting. Yeah. So it's I quite like this show. I have heard that there's a bit of censorship going on where they toned down a lot of the stuff from the manga. There was apparently nudity in the manga in some of those scenes from the earlier episodes. But you know, it is what it is. I'm still having fun with it. I think it's a fun kind of show. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, it's yeah.
So I will talk about my killer lesbians.
Yeah, well, just to quickly gloss over Panty Show, I did not catch up on that episode.
I am going to catch up. I haven't.
I will probably watch the third episode, but then that shit's probably going to get dropped. I'm going to be real because I'm not into it. I'm not too into it. It's not engrossing me too much. Like the fact that I haven't caught up with it is probably a telltale sign that it's probably going to get, you know, left to the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched the music lesbians, so that's a thing, and
same kind of deal, right?
Yeah. We're solidifying. We
are solidifying the choices now, kind of. So I'll try and get that third episode done, but no promises. And if I don't, then I'll say it's considered dropped at this point. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'll let you talk about your ninjas. because you got ninjas to talk about.
Ninja and assassins. So Naruto, there's a big thing going on where new character design shows up, with a new voice actor shows up, like 2 of them, and then they die and are never seen again.
Rip. Rip.
And they mentioned something like, "Oh, you killed Senpai! How dare you! I'm going to kill you!" And then they die. In the last episode, they did have a kind of a prologue and a flashback, I guess, where they had a girls' night together, the ninjas, and they were like, "Oh, I just bought this house and it's all nice and green and whatnot, and oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to just, buy a house over there and do chill." And one girl's like, "I would like to spend more time with you." And so she's in love with the other girl, and they are going to be a couple or whatnot. But then the order comes in that they have to kill the runaway ninja character on the poster. And Naruto, this happened on the end of the episode. These characters died in the first 3 minutes.
Oh boy.
So
boy.
So we're kind of just killing characters with unique designs in the voice actors for the fun of it. It's a thing. It's a thing now.
It's what we do.
Meanwhile, a theme of the show series appears or is bubbling up to the surface. It's kind of about becoming independent. Because, I mentioned that all these characters, all these dead ninja characters, are talking about getting their own places. The show, the ninja doesn't have a job or, even a family name, Hidden Ninja Village. She's not registered to any citizen or, birth certificate, whatever.
Right.
But, she gets one through big money bribes and whatnot. But now she has to decide what she wants to do for the future. Now she lives in a modern society that isn't her secret ninja village.
Isn't ninja stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So she kind of learns about applying for a job, and that how your resume, your CV is a complete lie, and how to lie about it, and what to say in an interview to get a job.
Yeah, I totally have 10 years of experience, even though I'm 20.
Like, people don't care about the school that you went to. You can just fill in any school you want, really. They just want some experiences that matches the type of people they want to hire. So
are you vaguely competent at the job, yes or no?
Yeah.
Right.
So
are you relatively good at what you do, right?
So she gets a job, and she hates the job because it involves
Yep.
well, the job that she got involves pushing decaying corpses down into a vat of very ominous liquid. She didn't like that job, so she quit that job.
I can imagine. I can't imagine why she wouldn't like that job, Ellie. Why wouldn't you like?
No, because she mentioned.
Why wouldn't you?
She mentioned like that the corpses would float up, and the corpses would just stare off into the distance. But sometimes those corpses would stare at you, and you would have to, and then you push the corpse down with a stick down into the ominous liquid while they stare at you. So she didn't like that, but the series this makes a kind of a point to go, hey, it's okay to try out a job and hate it. So I'm getting that's a theme that I'm getting from it right now, and all in all, kind of good stuff, and there are also some small lessons about cohabitation and house cleaning and all that stuff. So I put on the Overlord poster because the movie came out.
Yeah, but But we're gonna talk about that probably next week.
All I say is that I read the light novels, and the adaptation is pretty good.
Okay, well that's good. Then.
They do big skips, and there's a one moment there's like a spoiler. The enemy forces come from. Oh, it's you! But in the movie, you only would think like, oh, they only have this one battle.
Right,
So it implies that there's more battles in the past, but you never really get a hint of them even. But just know that.
I mean, it is what it is in the world of adaptations, right?
Like a year is skipped or something in between two scenes at some point.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I'm gonna watch it myself, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
So let's talk about yanderes.
Oh, Naruto, one small point. The title in Japanese, funny enough, isn't yandere at all. It's just heavy.
Really?
It's just heavy love. Oppressive love.
Well,
more.
I was gonna say because, okay, she has definitely got the yandere vibe, but it's more of a fun, playful kind of thing than she's going to murder people. She has the threatening aura and I want that dick real hard, right?
No, I believe even that the type of yandere you're talking about is actually it's called yangiri.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yandere
because it's she definitely is in that kind of camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the show's tone is not it's not it's good examples of yanderes, like murderous intent yanderes, right? There's not a lot of murders going on. It's more just kind of she's very overbearing. She's definitely obsessing over the guy. She doesn't want any other woman to go near him, right? And she's doing things that are very very sexual with our little Shota boy. Once that Shota boy real hard. But it's all done in this very kind of lighthearted kind of tone in a sense. Because in the second episode we're introduced to our the short-haired blonde girl who is at the library, and she sees there's an incident where she falls over on our boy and the panties and the face, typical ecchi stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, Shota boy, gets home, and our yandere elf is like, "Who the fuck was she? Who was she? How dare you touch another woman?" She's all angry about it, right? And so there's a bit of that going on, but then it turns out they meet up at school because the yandere elf decides to go to school because she can't trust Shota-kun. Goes to the school, and it turns out that this girl is really into fantasy light novels.
So she likes the elf more than the protagonist. Yeah, I see.
Because what happens is, she goes up to the elf and her have an interaction where she our elf girl just starts groping her and is like, "Is this the body you used to seduce my Shota-kun?" Right? How dare you? And then she's about to blast her with magic. And our boy is like, "No, roof now. No, you can't do that. That's bad." But then it turns out our girl is like, "Wait, was that magic? Are you really an elf? Oh my god, that's so cool. You're awesome. I love elves." What kind of magic was that? Can you do other magic? And she starts nerding the fuck out, right? Essentially. And they end up kind of forming a little bit of a friendship. The blonde girl does like Shota-kun though, so there is going to be a bit of a love triangle. There is going to be a bit of conflict going on, I think. There is going to be a little bit of that. And that's kind of established in the next episode where they have to go clothes shopping for our yandere elf, and they go to and they do a bunch of stuff,
Fancy shopping.
Typical stuff. Yeah, panty shopping. I'm kind of glossing over the whole gym section where they her leg gets injured, and then she uses that as a chance to try and get Shota-kun, but then our girl interrupts mid, and then Shota-kun runs off, and she's like, "God damn it! I almost had him. I was so close. That fucking bitch." Oh man. So And then at the end of the episode, it turns out, as you can probably see from the top corner of the image, the cleric girl and the beast girl have shown up from the other world. And they're like, we're here to bring you back. You got to come back. And so, yeah, that's going to be probably the conflict of the next episode is that. So I like the show. I think it's good. You will probably have to go find an uncensored version though, because I think the Crunchyroll release is censored, which is a shame. So you have to go on if you want the uncensored. If you want to see nipples, basically, you're gonna have to go to somewhere else. But I think it's fun. I wouldn't necessarily say it's amazing, but it's fun enough to be entertaining, right? And I think that the dynamic of it's yandere, but it's also not like taking itself or, the yandere stuff too super serial or too dark, I should say. Like, it's not going into that kind of...
She's not murdered. Well, she tried, never mind.
Well, no, she hasn't tried to murder anyone yet. Well, kind of, but she's like... But it's not like in a serious sense where she's like a serial killer, right? At least not yet. It's not treated as like how you would actually treat a yandere situation, right? Because it would probably not be as good as fun.
It's funny, yeah. Then the last section. Let me talk about How to Become Ordinary first, because okay, where we left off, Osunai was kind of the main girl is kind of suspected to kind of set up fires, and suddenly Naretsu, the plot is kind of revealed. The strings, the web is the picture is coming to view, where Osunai isn't setting the fires of the things that bothered her in the past. Because, in the first season, her bike was stolen, and suddenly there's an abandoned bike on fire. She got kidnapped in the van, and the van is on fire. All that stuff. She's not likely to be setting the fires herself. It's more likely she has a web of contacts of influenced individuals, where for the past half a year, maybe like 10 months, she's been manipulating the newspaper club at school, where at first big of backstory again. Newspaper club, a new member wants to write about things outside of school, events outside school. That was voted down by the president, who is friends with Osunai the girl and Kobato the guy, because it would mean that he could write about the kidnapping, and we don't want to draw attention to the kidnapping. But then Osunai comes to the president later and says, "Oh yeah, I don't want anything about that kidnapping, but anything else would be fine." And then later, somebody else says, "Hey, could we write about something else? I want to maybe somebody wanted to write about a charity thing outside of school." And then suddenly he has, the president cannot refuse the suggestion to write things about outside of school, and the thing, blah, 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 blah. And now suddenly we are writing about the fires. While Osunai is girlfriend of the guy who's writing about the fires, who is in frequent contact with another guy in a newspaper club, while saying things which she allows and not allows to the president, while even maybe influencing the last member that is not yet compromised also to have the suggestion in the first place. So the entire newspaper club is in the palm of her hands. And to kind of signify this power play, the president, who's friends with Osunai and Kobato, the guy, steps down He's the third year, he has to do the cram school thing and whatnot, focus on studies. So, after some debates, I assume, this new guy who's writing about the fires is now president. So, imagine the scene, Retsu. It's it's afternoon, maybe even late afternoon, like 5 o'clock. There's shadows are cast at the hallway. Osuna is waiting for her boyfriend, quotation marks almost, who is now president of this newspaper club. She's standing in the part that's lit up. He's standing in the dark. He's completely in the dark. Well, Osuna is saying vague things. Well, he's saying, I know everything. I have everything under control. And she says, alright, go ahead, try and impress me. Well, he's standing in the light, and again, he's standing in the dark. Then he does this thing, Retsu. He grabs her shoulders and he goes for a kiss on the lips. Suddenly, but then Otsunai picks up does a receipt, grabs a receipt that she has, and puts it between her lips and the guy, so she's not kissed at all. Then one last bit, she kind of from here have this receipt that was just between us, and when he tries to grab it, she drops it. And then he picks it off the floor, and she just looks at it with a small smile smirk. So Retsu, this is all part of her plan.
It's all part of the grand master.
It's all she's the wolf. She has a score to settle with somebody, and she'll use everything and everybody to get to do it. It's great. Meanwhile, Kobuto finds out that he's been triple cheated on by the girlfriend that he has. The girlfriend that he has is once this older college guy as a boyfriend, but to get there, meanwhile she's dating this other guy. Also, you are also actually kind of the third rank boyfriend over here. And the show already made this kind of clear, Naretsu. He doesn't really care about her. But the moment that he catches on that Osanai is up to something, he kind of just, oh, I'm being cheated on? Cool though. Do you have more information about Osanai? What she's doing though? So the whole pretense of them suddenly having separate girl boyfriends just disappears. She has a boyfriend, so she can manipulate all the information and the things that are happening around the fires and whatnot. He has a girlfriend that is only there because she suggested, hey, do you want to be girlfriend or boyfriend? He said, alright. And then he didn't really do anything at all. And doesn't care that he's been cheated on because he never really cared in the first place. But, Osanai is doing something. Better go find out what that is. So yeah, but anyway, the mystery is coming into view. Osanai has constructed this web, and for what exact reason is not yet clear. But it is clear that she's still eliminating everybody who has wronged her in some way. Last bit. In the first season, she got her bike stolen, right? And then she got scolded for having her bike stolen. The guy who was scolding her, the guidance counselor that was scolding her for getting her bike stolen, is removed from his position.
Yeah.
And it's kind of clear that she had a hand in it. So she's still the wolf in this story, just hunting everybody who dares to approach her. But yeah, that's How to Become Ordinary. Do you want to talk about Rangers?
All right. Unless you want to do Apocryphary.
I'll save my voice a bit.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Yeah, Rangers is good. It's back.
Yeah.
good. It's pretty good. It's pretty much. I mean, the first episode was basically just re-establishment because we got to get back into the swing of things. We got to be reminded that Red Ranger is a fucking schizo. It's fucking psychopath.
Super skit though. It's great actually.
It is really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, the whole thing about, hey, what is our post going to be? And like, oh, whatever, dudes, I don't care. And it's like, oh, how dare they not conform to my special super?
He's so mad. He's so, and then he gets like, because they're doing the show, and because they don't have the Blue Ranger, they keep fucking up.
Well,
right?
not really. He's just getting very angry. It doesn't go his specific way.
It doesn't go his way, and then he gets bashed in the face by the fucking thing, by the boss monster. That's the fake boss monster, right? And he just goes fucking ballistic and just starts beating the shit out of the boss monster.
And not in the fun, justice way.
Super Sentai way. No, he's beating the shit out of them in the I'm going to fucking kill you way. And then they grab the laser and they shoot it, and it was too close to the crowd, so it could have caused serious injury.
Well, from the explosion, it kind of looks like that somebody would have been scratched by the explosion, some debris.
Big explosion. Yeah, very.
And the face, the Retsu, he is standing there in his regular pose, like I'm victorious in a big V shape, Sentai.
Yeah.
But his face is so angry, Naretsu. He's molding, he's seething.
He's an absolute cope and sieve going on.
It is just the complete mental defeat of why does nobody do what I want? I hate you all and I will kill you all if I could. But I stupid fucking It's a great face to see in that scene.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, other than that though, the general gist of what's going on is our boy has been picked for the green team.
Yeah.
The green team, his whole existence is to go after boss monsters
that are still roaming in secret.
Yeah, and our man has decided, okay, I have to deal with the boss monsters and the Rangers because he's, he wants to reset and do things his way and not just be beholden to the
boss monsters.
In truth, they did abandon the goobers.
Well,
right? So,
we
understandable character motivations.
Yeah, but I'm not completely convinced that the boss monsters necessarily abandoned the Petrola guy that is just sees these dusters, which he is, the goons, as disposable pawns. I'm not necessarily convinced that all boss monsters think the same. I am also, we discovered that there were 12 from the zodiac signs.
Yes,
the Chinese zodiac,
and they've already defeated quite a few of them.
So there are 5 left, and one of them is the cow. And Naretsu, cows have spots, right? They're kind of white and have black spots.
Well, depending on the breed, obviously.
But if I'm looking at the guy in the poster, which introduced as a character, he is predominantly white with black, and he has a big black eye, or big eye makeup, black eye makeup, which I can construe as a black spot, which I can construe as a cow, which means that he might be the cow.
He's the cow man.
Yeah, the cow boss monster.
Well, we'll see, because he shows up, and it turns out he's an informant for the Green Rangers,
and he knows about boss monsters and has connections and can fight apparently. So
he's sus. He's got some sus.
He got some backstory, maybe. He's not necessarily sus in that sense.
Yeah. So, that's kind of where we're at. and they're investigating the school where there's apparently a thing. In the meantime, the guy that our Goober is impersonating has also gone to that same school and investigating stuff. So, wonder what's
Yeah, and
happening.
the small arc of this 2 or 3 episodes is that they're trapped in a time loop school scenario, and they have to
Yeah,
break.
because they're dealing with the boss monster, the snake, who's like illusions and stuff. Basically, they want to do some big illusionary stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, it's Red Ranger. I'd say it's looking as bad as good as what it was last time.
Oh yeah, and also the first lieutenant of the Blue Ranger is super small, and she goes like, I'll
yeah,
become
she's
the
like,
Blue.
I'll be the Blue Ranger. No, you're a midget.
You're a fucking dwarf, you stupid bitch.
Yeah, you stupid bitch. Yeah. You wouldn't fit in our lineup. You would make it look wrong.
How can you be so fucking stupid, you stupid
Yeah,
cow
yeah,
bitch?
yeah.
How dare you even
find someone who's the right height, you dumbass. Fucking Christ.
And then somebody spills tea over him, and that guy is also dead.
And then that guy gets killed. Yeah, it's a fun little gag.
Yeah,
and we also know that. Yeah, we also know that our white-haired brown guy joined the Red Rangers, and our Red Ranger is like, "You need to investigate the Green Rangers. They're weird.
They're sus.
Someone's going. There's this traitor. There had to have been a traitor in the midst. Probably the Green Rangers go investigate. Right. So yeah. But yeah, it's all right. So I guess, I don't know, do you still want to save your voice, or do we want to do quicks?
G-quacks, as we learn.
Quacks. So episode 2 was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. Shot for shot remake of 79.
I saw some comparisons.
Dude, it's more than just that episode. Episode 3 also has had some like really fucking like obscure like shot comparisons with the fucking 79. There's a lot going on. So I guess we'll just start from episode 2. So episode 2 is basically, now I found out because there was the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the movie is like the first 2 episodes, but it's like the other way around. You have episode 2 is episode 1.
Yeah, I understand why, because I assume when you're going to watch the Gundam movie, you know about the Gundam, so you're very familiar with Char and what it...
You're kind of there for that, right? You're kind of there. The new stuff is secondary, whereas with the actual show, they want to introduce the new characters and they want to get that off the ground first, right? And then do what is essentially kind of an exposition episode, in a sense. Which is sort of what it was.
Yeah,
but it's good.
It's good. I am still somewhat lost on a couple of points because it is kind of.
All right, let Papa Naretsu and Jake, if Jake's still around, to help you out.
No, I kind of get the broad big strokes, right? But there are some jumps between scenes and time and whatnot. That I had to.
Oh, you're not. There was someone who was a mech head in the chat. So someone else.
I think 5-0. 5-0 was, I think, the big Gundam.
Oh yeah, 5-0 was the mech head. I think. Okay.
No, I am just. Sometimes I'm just right. What is the significance of this character, and why was this battle so important, and and. Why are they here right now? And the fort got captured and then recaptured and uncaptured, stuff like that.
So, I do agree with you because to give it credit, it's trying to condense the entirety of maybe not the entirety of 79, but it's trying to condense 79 into a 30-minute exposition episode to establish this is the new timeline.
Yes.
Because the general TLDR is when, due to a mech malfunction, Char gets to the colony first and gets the Gundam first before Amuro, or Amuro isn't even like shown as being there. So either Amuro doesn't exist in this timeline, or there's some other stuff that's kind of fucky-wucky. But the general just is Char gets the Gundam for Zeon and also captures the white base.
Wasn't there Rocking Horse?
Base. The Rocking Horse, yeah, they call it. It has multiple names. People call it different names. Like the white base, the Rocking Horse, you know, the fucking the ship basically, right from the first.
The launching ship.
Yeah, and he fucking nukes the cockpit with his arm.
The bridge, yeah.
Fuck, holy shit. So yeah, they capture that, and it is very much shot for shot. Like even like when they do like the episode transition, where like the Gundam has the
I felt
even
that. I felt
yeah,
it.
even that is like the same as what it was in '79. So they clearly like are doing a good job at referencing and homaging what came before in this kind of redo of the timeline. But I do agree with you that like if you hadn't like, because again, I haven't watched the entirety of '79. I've only watched the recap movies, right? Which I do obviously skip a lot of content, right? Because you know they're trying to get through and condense the whole series down into 3 movies, right? So there are events that happen and characters that show up where I can imagine for someone that doesn't know anything about '79, you're probably sitting there going, oh, that guy looks kind of different to everyone else. He must be important, but then he doesn't seem to be important in the episode, right? But it is important in the context of, oh, that's a guy that did that in the original show, but he's doing something different now. That's cool, right? You know, like the whole thing with Char stopping like the star asteroid from like hitting the moon thing,
base,
right?
yeah.
The moon base, and that's how Char disappears, right? Yeah, a lot of this is very different to how it went down in the original. Like Char doesn't meet like the doesn't go to the institute, doesn't meet like this very important like dark skinned character. I keep forgetting her name, but she's very important to Char as a character. So he doesn't meet her. So there's a lot going on in that second episode where I can definitely understand if someone isn't familiar with the Gundam Universal Century timeline, they'd be like, what the fuck's going on? Right? So I think that's a valid criticism. But I think it's literally just because like they're trying to condense a shitload of information, right, into a very small package. And the pacing definitely suffers, right? Like the first part of it is fine, but like the second half of it is like you can tell they're rushing to get this shit. Like, yeah, this is what happened, right? So they.
I was told, or you know, I read somewhere that the whole summary of the battle of the big base that got diverted by Char in the was it Sonoba incident?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You see the battle, or you can see the boring the treaty signing thing. There's a scene in the movie, but you know in the episode it got cut by just a summary.
Yeah, because again, they're probably trying to like. So yeah, they gotta fit all that shit in. It's pretty wild. So that's episode 2. I mean, obviously, as someone that's familiar with '79, I fucking had a really great time. I loved it. Like all the little animation nods and the little references, and like there's the scene where Char is like firing that, like he shoots the Gundam's cannon, and he's like, "Wow, it's a cruiser class cannon on a Gundam. Cool." In the original, he's watching that happen from the other perspective, where he watches Amuro kill Izaku, and he's like, "Holy shit! It has a fucking." You know,
a battleship cannon on a mobile suit.
On a Gundam, on a mobile suit, that's insane, right? So there's some interest. There's a lot of interesting play there. I think if you are a fan of Universal Century or you're familiar with it, you would get a kick out of that episode. It was really good, and I vaguely recall. I would have to fact check this, but I believe that was one of the parts that Anno was involved with, I believe. Like Anno was very involved with that part of the movie when they were doing the movie part of it. So supposedly that was kind of his baby, but I can't confirm that. I would have to go look into it because people have said that Amuro is pseudo involved in this a little bit. But anyway,
You mean
episode
Tomino?
3.
Tomino, you mean?
No. I mean.
Oh, sorry.
Anno. I mean Hideaki Anno apparently had involvement in this at some.
You said Adamo, but
I know. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Okay, fucking pronunciation's going to shit. So episode 3, we're back to Tomato. I don't want to call her Tomato Girl because everyone called the other girl Tomato Girl.
what? The second.
Tomato Girl the second. Yeah.
Baseball head. Baseball girl.
Baseball head. Right. Baseball girl. Yeah. So we're introduced to her and a little bit, and the situation is basically, this Gundam is like fucking, or this mobile suit is really weird. What the fuck is a Quix? What the fuck is this?
Whatever it is.
Shit. Oh man, if we dig too deep, it's gonna activate like the security system and self-destruct. We can't, go too deep into it, right? It's got security in it. And it's kind of like, oh man, our other mobile suit is fucked. We need to be able to fight in the fucking underground fucking fight club.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile suit fight club. But we can't let this unexperienced kid fucking fight. She's gonna get killed.
She will never win. She's a total loser. Actually,
she's a loser. Yeah, and I like how they're saying all this, and she's just got this look on her face.
She has a great face. But she can go from wide-eyed, wondrous look to I am so going to kill you if you don't stop talking.
Yeah. She's great. I think she's fucking adorable. She's so fucking cute. She's so great.
She meets the guy that she kind of likes 1 minute, and she's stuttering right away.
Yeah, that's great. So, we'll get there. So, basically, the establishment is, she's living on the colony with her mom. Her mom's working all the time.
Government job.
It's kind of a government job, right? Yeah, because she shows up later as well because she's involved in government stuff, and because the unicorn base or whatever fucking slams into the colony and is like, "G'day guys, how you doing?"
I am here. I'm a part of a big military, and if you cannot shoot me.
If you fuck with shoot me. That's a problem. Let's have a diplomatic incident. Let's go. So yeah, that's like a subplot that's going on. Like we've got one side of it which is following Tomato Girl, the second, and the other part of it is following
the Zeon fellas.
The Zeon fellas, on the thing, and they're freaking the fuck out because they're like, "Where the fuck is the Gundam? Oh shit, we lost the
pilot. The pilot is in captivity, is being interrogated. This is also
our guy is getting it. Yeah, this is bad shit. Are we gonna get fucking court-martialed? We're going to get executed. Shit. Oh man. So that's going down. And then we get and then our girl is in class, and she's like looking up what the because she's interested in the Red Gundam, right? The one that she saw. What does she call it? The Chi-Chi? The Chini-Chi?
Kira is the
Kira. The Kira. The space autism, the new type autism mode. What the psychic Esper shit. So she basically is looking up, okay, it's Char. That's a weird mask.
It is a weird mask.
It is a weird mask, yeah. But then she gets the Kira, and she's like, oh shit, I gotta go. And she runs off, and comes across a mural under a bridge. And it's the Kira. And then
a representation of it.
Yeah, and then the guy that painted it shows up and just grabs her and sniffs her.
And she's okay with it?
Well, she's not. Well, she's shocked. She's like, what the fuck? And then she quickly goes from in the span of like a nanosecond, she goes from what the fuck to, oh, you're cute. You're kind of cute. You're kind I guess the Yuri fans are gonna be seething at
this season.
Yeah. Oh no, she's not gay, Ellie.
Oh, we can fix
Apparently
it. We
not.
can fix that. Don't worry.
We can fix that. Despite what the ED may tell you, she's not gay, apparently.
Fan fiction
But we're
has all the
introduced-
power.
But we are introduced to a new character. We were introduced to. I'm gonna call him Weird Autistic Man. That's what I'm.
Suji is his name.
His nickname, because I'm horrible at remembering names. His nickname is gonna be Weird Autistic Boy. Weird Autistic Boy is like, oh
Call him
yeah,
Hobo if you want.
yeah, yeah, Mr. Hobo over here, right, is like, oh yeah, you have the Kiri or whatever too. Yeah, oh the gun. So say if he always like the Gundam talks to him,
Which
Apparently
makes me think. All right, point. Char disappeared, and now we have found the Gundam,
Yeah.
but there's no Char. But suddenly the Gundam can talk. Where is Char?
Yeah, that's a big theory going on right now, but we'll get to that because we're skipping ahead a little bit because we have to talk about blue-haired hard ass, right? Shows up doing a delivery because she's delivering the new fucking hard drive.
Yeah, the combat computers and whatnot.
And he drops his money into the fucking under the bridge.
Well, Machu kind of
It's like,
did.
yeah, Machu did it. Yeah, Machu did it. And he's like, oh, I got no money now. But our girl is like, shit, if I fuck up again, I'm gonna get fired. God damn it. I need the goddamn money. And so they go into the tunnels and they find out, yes, so our autistic hobo man, right, is the pilot of the Red Gundam. So
now we got a team.
Now we got a team, yeah. And also, should we fight in the thingy? Yes. So saith the Gundam. The Gundam is talking. And so to go back to what you were talking about, yeah, the running theory is that like Char's spirit is inside the Gundam, or people have been hypothesizing maybe Char's spirit is inside that little ball thing, and it's like jumping around all the time. And it's that was another theory because people think that's why she was able to unlock the Quicks, was because that robot's got like Char's spirit in it or something. I don't know. People are coming up with some wild fucking shit.
Yeah, anime original is always fun to speculate. I am not really feeling. Alright. Nerutsu, I have seen barely any Gundam, especially basically zero Universal Century Gundam. But from the osmosis and what I'm seeing, what I've seen in episode 2, the ball doesn't really talk like Char. The Gundam is more like Char in a sense from you have to fight. That's more of a Char thing to say and whatnot than I found a real math. Would Char say on behalf of Machu that Shuji is a real math? That doesn't really make sense. When the ball goes from Homo no Mafu, let's say, I don't feel a Char in there.
Right. So they end up going and doing the fight in the battle, and while this is happening, our the pilot man and the guy that's leading the Zeon forces are at a bar, and they're kind of like, shit. So you're telling me this kid stole the Gundam? This kid managed to activate the Quicks and then stole the Gundam or whatever, and then they're like, oh, they switch on the TV to the Gundam fighting. It's like, holy shit, it's the Quicks!
And they're like, oh god, the Red Gundam also.
And the Red Gundam also. And then the guy who worked with Char, right, is quickly like, yeah, that's not Char. It's not Char, but they are. They're in like a formation. They're in the MAV, right, where they have two Gundams, right, looking out for each other, right. So they're doing the formation stuff, and the guy's just sitting there like rock hard. Like the way it's described, the way it looks is funny, right? Because the guy, the guy that worked with Char is like watching the fight happen, and while the fight's happening, he's like, "Wow, look at their tactics. Yeah, they're doing it. They're pulling through. They're doing it." Like he's getting so hard, Ellie. He's getting so fucking.
Well, to be specific,
he's
right?
like, yeah, look at him go! Look at him go!
He is talking about the opponents right now, who are doing the textbook math thing, but because at first Machu is just randomly flying around,
getting her shit kicked in. She gets exposed first, so she gets shot first, and she's getting.
Well, she never gets hit, but she's very She's very much panicking and running.
Well, you know, she's new to this whole thing, right? So
and you know she has a small panic attack, but then Shuji, the hobo man,
we get the Kira Kira
activates the Kira Kira, and then she enters the Kira Kira, and then she does.
And they're able. So what part of the Kira Kira, right? Part of the new type thing is that it's kind of like a precognition where you see the future. So there's a line that like the guys say in the bar where they're how far can they see in the future? You know, like because so like there's like certain people, like I'm willing to bet like the pilot guy, because he has Kira Kira too, right? Because he's a new type. He probably has like future sight too, but he can probably only see a certain extent into the future, whereas our girl and Hobo Man seem to be like more autistic, right? And are able to see further into the future because they're autistic, right? So that's kind of the explanation a little bit for that. Because that's always how like it's been described, and like it's like Esper ability type stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like you're reading, like it's not like literally seen into the future, but it's like you are able to feel the emotions of the people around you, and that allows you to determine what they're going to do next, right? It's kind of that kind of thing. So yeah, they use the Kira Kira and they manage to beat the two Zakus, and they win the fight and they get the prize money, and then that's kind of where the episode ends. And like I said, it's good. I like it. I'm on board. I'm totally down. Tomato Girl's cute. I like her. She's cool. I also will have special mention of the ED. It turns out, I didn't recognize this at first. The ED is sung by Suisei of Hololive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I knew of it in the beginning. I don't hear her as much though, but
but she's there, so you know it's cool little thing. I do like the opening song as well. The opening song's pretty good too. But yeah, no, yeah. So Quicks is good. Fun times. Going well. I guess we'll move into talking about Apothecary, and then we'll call it.
Yeah. So, Apothecary Diaries. So, Naruto, you might even say I kind of complained last time where Apothecary Diaries, maybe it wasn't last time, maybe the time before. The Apothecary sets up these small mysteries and solve them either kind of immediately the next episode or in the episode itself, right? Like, perfumes are dangerous. Next episode, perfumes are uncovered to be used to create an abortion drug. And then that thing is solved. Dretsu, especially the last episode, is a big thing about, oh yeah, all these other mysteries, they're all connected.
Right.
So... I might have not mentioned. I should have mentioned it. Oh yeah, Metaphor Refutatio is very good. I might have mentioned there were new eunuchs coming in, right? And it's kind of rare because eunuchs are, making new eunuchs was banned, but these are slaves that they're bought from outside of the country, so they can be entered to be, manual labor for the rear palace. I think I'll just talk about the last episode because I think that's more impactful, where kind of the big thing of importance happens in Red Zoo. We kind of realize where all this knowledge comes from. Why do all these people even know about how to kill so many babies? How do you even uncover all that information? Well, Naretsu, some 20 years ago, our adoptive father, posted some notes about things that you shouldn't do because they're dangerous to children. But there's a small downside to that, Naretsu. What if you know how to endanger fetuses? Telling somebody what to do is also telling somebody how to do.
Yeah.
But there's a small problem there too. Basically the staff of all the concubines and the servants all get kind of replaced every 2 years. So there's nobody left to basically remember those notes from 10, 20 years ago. So why do people remember the exact things to do that actually happened in the past year or two?
Yeah, it's a bit fishy. It's a little bit fishy.
Well, Naretsu, there is the clinic, which is entirely run by older women. And Naretsu, the previous emperor had this thing about picking the youngest women that he could, deflowering them, and then, soiling their reputation so much they could never leave. Those women might bear some resentment, you might say.
Maybe.
And
just maybe they might.
And maybe they have, knowledge. Maybe they even have some access to some medical supplies as they are in a clinic. So when one of the servants' girl of one of the concubines said, "Hey, I am sick. I don't want to endanger my mistress is maybe pregnant. I don't want to endanger them, whatnot." And then if the clinic lady says, "Oh, here is a detailed list of not to do in what proportions you shouldn't mix this."
Yeah, the exact measurements to the T.
Of what not to do.
You must not use 5 grams of spice. Only, no more, no less. Okay?
Otherwise, it would become ineffective.
Yeah.
And so when
totally.
So when this servant girl gets the note from, "All right, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to tell this to the head lady in waiting, who has a big grudge towards the concubine and wants to kill her children and take her place." Oh no, what's happened? The concubine hatches a plot to cause an abortion so she can replace the concubine. The thing that happened like a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
So, alright, cool. We kind of solved the mystery from where all this knowledge about how to kill babies comes from, and a kind of also a motive. But then Naretsu, this hot new concubine, this hot new eunuch, suddenly comes into door, and this concubine is very pretty. All the girls are fawning over him. But Naretsu, he's a bit short. His voice is a bit high. And he has the same eye color of that court lady that faked her own death. And she walks into the door frame and says to the clinic lady from, "Oh hey, you said too much. You gave a hint. Now she knows what you did."
Ah shit! No!
And then she takes then the eunuch. She actually Susuren, who was doing the whole plot to kill Jinji with the falling thing during the ceremony and all that stuff. Goes, hey, I have a hostage. If you don't come with me, I'll kill her.
Rip.
And now Mao Mao is kidnapped.
Hey.
Hey. Next
Fun times.
next scene.
Fun time.
Next scene, you see Jinchi wearing a mask, and he's talking to the to the strategist, who is Mao Mao's actual, biological father, and the suspicious noble guy who may be implicated in the gun assassination of Jinchi a few episodes ago, 3 or so. And they have a bit of a tea, and there's some tense exchanges where the biological father goes from, "Hey, these guns are very advanced, actually. How come these guys had a gun? Do you anything suspicious, politician guy?"
Yeah. Do you know anything about the guns, mate?
And he says, "No, I don't at all."
Oh, of course not.
No, and then I'm all right, oh cool. You don't know anything. Hey, but I have something important. Oh, see this Go match that I played with my wife. See how great she is at this. My wife is so amazing. She's so great. Look at these moves she did. She's so cool. You could never compare. And then biological father goes, "All right, but cool. I'll give you this diagram of the state of play and a book with all the moves that we did." And then the strategist goes, "All right, cool, dude. Thanks, I guess." And the polishing guy, goes, "Oh, cool, dude. Thanks, I guess." And then Noretsu, he pours out a glass cup, and he pours some grape juice for him and says, "Hey, look at this fine red color," he says. Right, so the cup is the liquid is green. And the politician says, "Yeah, that is a fine red."
Yeah.
And then the strategist goes on, "Yeah, that's right. But it's green."
Oh no.
And if you recall a little bit a while ago when
I do recall they were doing the whole test thing with the colorblind stuff.
So there's maybe some plots to kill Jinchi and then proclaim that he is the legitimate heir and whatnot. So shady things are happening. But Jinchi is there, is everything Jinchi is speaking, but always through a servant. Like Jinchi, whispers something in the ear of the servant, and the servant says, "Jinchi says this," which is what Jinchi did before, but whatnot. He's talking to people that he knows, but anyway, it's a thing because he pretends to be the brother while not being the brother, while actually being the brother and whatnot. In this setting. Anyway. Jinchi goes back to a private room, big room, and then Jinchi takes off the mask and goes, "It's so nice to play Jinchi because I am actually Ado, his mother." So she's back, the concubine that was sent away because she was too old actually and couldn't bear children at all. Anyway, she's back and being pretending to be Jinchi. Because Jinchi is very busy looking for Mao Mao, and if you know Noretsu, whatever what I told, you better be sure that Jinchi is in a state of anger and panic that Mao Mao is missing, because they don't know that Mao Mao is being kidnapped by anybody in particular, but Jinchi cares about Mao Mao, and people will die, apparently, I would assume. In this thing, so yeah, to maybe some
fun times
ahead. The big mystery is revealed. A bunch of loose ends are now being tied up right now, and there is more loose ends that I won't mention because time was not. But things are happening. I just want to maybe a quick note that yes, from next week onwards. We might, I wasn't click here. We might, consolidate some shows like
Yeah,
I-
we might create a category that's just quick ones we can say, yeah, we're still watching, it's still good, not much to report.
Yeah. So something like my Witch Watch and your Fire Force, and maybe even the Sexbot show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Ninkoro, the assassin show. I mean, we can always.
There's gonna be a few of those where it's probably just going to be yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
I don't think I'll be watching the generic romance. It's just outside of
I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I still think it's pretty
yeah. I'm watching shows.
good.
I'm watching stuff.
Yeah, watching all the things. But anyway, I guess that'll end us for today. It's been fun. Good chat. Good chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too much else to go into. So we will catch you guys. We're still in flux, right? So we don't.
I have actually. I should be able to do the same time, etc. next week.
Well, it might have to be an hour later because fuck me.
We did scheduled 1 hour earlier for you to.
Yeah, but we'll see. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily the stream's fault because I did stay up late to watch that goddamn thing. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.
Later.
Later.